radio impulses into space. And all that are being heard on every radio telescope on the entire
Did you think it was?
Please tell me my microphone is working. Oh, good. How you doing, people? Welcome to the stream. Yes, you can be excited. No, you can't get ahead of me. Oh, no, nerves indeed. Right, so we'll make this very, very clear because it's very obvious since you've been watching me do this for almost 5 years now, but the rules still apply as usual. I am going to be reading the patch notes live. No, you don't necessarily know more about it than anybody else in the stream because everyone can read, or most people can. If you can't, someone can read it out to you. But I did attend a meeting with Stream Team Partners only the other day and Zos. So 3 days ago, we did get some insight as to how this was going to work. So I do have extra information for you. So hold fire on all the screaming and shouting because it's going to be explained. But while I'm reading it, don't get ahead of me. I know it's very, very easy for someone on the internet to go ahead and go, hey, I'm going to talk about this stuff. Don't do that. It's a dick move. I'm reading it live. If you know stuff already, you already read it, great. Just let everyone else catch up. Anyway, let's say hi to everyone. Hopefully the music's not too loud. It probably is, actually. Let's turn that down a little bit. You are way too loud in my ears. Is that better? Let's go to the top of the list. DJ, Lozzie, Rav, Smooch, Free Birdie, Spikes, Bonnie, Soldier, Such Naffy. Scroll down. Just Cause, Terminator, One Little Chick, Lord Shadowmere, Lady Vixen, Jacob, Ahog the Wild, Tind, Buddha, Matt, Spirit, James Bond, Raging Ninjas, Snowgo. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. What music? You can't hear it? Hold on, bear with me. Ah, that's why. It's in my headphones. How about now? Let's start again. There you go. Is that too loud? If you can barely hear it, I'll turn it up a little bit. But it might be quite loud. Maybe not. Ah, I just kicked my chair. Fuck! On live stream. Hold on. That needs to just thaw out for a second. Anybody else done that when you hit the fucking wheels of a chair with a heel? Bastard! Okay, let's carry on. Thawed out, that hurt. Stark, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. You got your reading glasses on? It's very low. If it gets too loud... Okay, that's loud. Oh, yes! Thank you very much. Beer and cake, of course, in the chat, people. If you have not already got those emotes, obviously you have to use whatever you can get your grips with. But if you have got them, spam them because we've got a new Dragonborn. You know the rules, people. The fight starts getting from scratch. If you kill the Dragonborn, you will take a place in stream. I have to kill you instead. Thank you very much. We just sort this music out. We're going to have this a little lower. This is really quiet background music, so I don't want to get too loud. Part of PvP can easily be welcome. Title, welcome gankers. Dear oh dear. Again, I did make this clear at the very beginning. No spoilers. Yes, I already know what's in the PTS patch notes to some extent, especially since I had the meeting with Zos 3 days ago. So I already know. But if you've already read it, do not type stuff in the chat that I haven't caught up to yet, because people want to hear the live response. Anyone that does try to be a smartass will get their messages removed, and if they argue about it, they will get timed out. So don't be a dick. Anyway, hopefully people enjoy it. Brad Guns, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Can't access the forums. Not my problem. Unfortunately, I can't fix it for you. You can go on Reddit. There is a fix for it, but I'm not going to go over that a million times in the stream. We all know it's broken. Zos can't fix it just yet. Harlequin, how you doing? Welcome to the stream as well.
I love Willies. Drinks all around.
Thank you for the follow. Right, let's get started, because it's going to be a long fucking night otherwise. So we know there's a new DLC, we know there's 2 new dungeons, you know there's going to be monster sets and new sets and all that kind of stuff, which is mega cool. And if you saw the Elder Scrolls Online live stream on Friday, you'll also know that they have new mementos and bits and pieces, which are quite cool. Also, there's a goat boss. Didn't read, was waiting for your Zai bedtime story. I don't mind if you have already read them, just don't get ahead of me in the chat, because there's always that one person that wants to get attention out of the amount of people that are in the chat going, hey, did you know about blah, 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 blah? Like, shut up, we all know. Anyway, let's get there. So, there are some substantial... They may be small, but they're not... There are some substantial alterations to some of the combat abilities and passives and some sets as well. So we're going to go over that stuff. Yes, a lot of this may well affect and will, in fact, affect PvP. But 2 new dungeons. Red Petal Bastion. And the Dread Cellar. Be fucking scared. Again, if you go to the Bethesda page on Twitch, if you want to see what they look like, Finn did go around with a nuke button, looking at both the dungeons. Hey, Zion Ninjas, how you doing? I'm going to press it. There you go. So, first set of the day, the new set, Dread Cellar. So this adds Magicka, Mag Recovery, weapon and spell damage. And when you deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack, hello Easy Sork, you gain an imbued aura for 10 seconds, so 10-second buff for doing a heavy attack, granting you and up to 3 group members 370 mag and stam recovery. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds. If you deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack with an imbued aura active, consume it and gain overflow for 10 seconds, granting you and your group 3 other members, 307 weapon damage and spell damage. They just said the same. Oh, there we go. Read that completely wrong. But anyway, first heavy attack grants you this. Recovery for the group. Second heavy attack, if you consume it, gives everyone weapon and spell damage. And that's a unique buff as well. It's overflow aura. It's not powerful assault or minor courage or major courage. It's a new weapon and spell damage buff for your group. So, heavy attacks are boring, are they? Because if someone in your group heavy attacks, they can give you more weapon and spell damage. Quite nice. Also, if you mix that with the Raw and Opportunist, you just get Major Slayer and that combined from a heavy attack. You're welcome. What about Xynode who can read what's on the screen, not what makes up? Shut up, Naffy. You try and do this with fuck knows how many people watching. Oh, wait, you can't. Medium armor set, stam recovery, weapon and spell damage, and offensive penetration. So that's both weapon and spell pen. When you deal direct damage with blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull abilities, so just like the Tormentor set, within 10 meters of you, after 2 seconds, physical damage to all enemies within 7 meters. So that's pretty big area. Especially if you use the DK melee kind of stuff, you keep at range. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds and scales off your highest offensive stats, so that'll be weapon or spell damage, whichever one is higher. The pull will not apply crowd control immunity to the target. The only thing is, it doesn't say how much. Deals physical damage to all enemies, but it doesn't say how much of it, unless it's here. We expect a lot of power from this. Hold on. We'll read it. We expect a lot of power from this set with this ability to pull enemies without applying crowd control. Oh, it's a puller too. It is an actual pull. In early internal playtesting, we experimented both with and without CC immunity application. So, Fatal, thank you very much. Here's the thing. Like this new out. Right, do you know what? Nafi, you are going to be the first person to be set an example of. That message has to go away. Now, be nice. I told you not to get ahead of me. Just because you have been here for a long time doesn't mean that you are exempt from the rules. Getting ahead of the streamer when they're trying to read something live is rude. Now, let me get on with this. This is a pull set, which does physical damage, but it doesn't apply CC. Meaning, do you know what that means? When you try to pull stuff and CC it with certain classes or skills, you can't. Because pulls count as a stun CC. So if you were a Templar and you don't have any root abilities, normally you'd try and use something like Time Stop. But if you pull them in with Silver Leash first, then use Time Stop, you can't because they're on cooldown. If you activated this, however, they wouldn't be in a CC situation, and you could apply Time Stop on top of it. So you can pull, pin them. That is a whole 5-piece set to be able to do that, whereas other classes can do it anyway. But that's one way to look at stuff like that. They try all manner of different stuff, both PvP and PvE, but that does alleviate some of the issues you might have with some class skills or some guild type skills that you might want to use in conjunction with each other, but they also cancel each other out because of the fucking stun immunity. I caved and got myself the Ring of the Pale Order today. Nice! Congratulations. Now, why I get so many people to use it, that thing is pretty insane. Yes, it is. Next set, heavy set. Armor, health, armor. When you use an ability, so like a Sork tank, CC suck. Yeah, basically. But the thing is, Nafi, with the Sork CC, you have got a hard root, whereas the Templar doesn't. So again, we'll go backwards a little bit. Before, with most classes like the Templar, not Templar, sorry, the DK and the Necromancer, and also even to argue that fact, actually the Sork, you could pull stuff in and you can root them. So you've got a stun and a root on 2 different CCs. But the Templar can't, because he doesn't have a root, technically. This will allow you to do that. But again, the sacrifice is it's a whole 5-piece set. But what you also have to consider is if you are using the Tormentor set, for example, as well, I mean, your charge ability now pulls and taunts all at the same time. So basically, you just need Topple and Charge and Time Stop and nothing else ever. Maybe Caltrops for the debuff. It's pretty nuts. Roots like talons. Correct, yes. So, again, while before you would pull their stunned, you can't do nothing. You can't pin them as well. Now you can. The heavy armor set. Armor, health, and armor. When you use an ability that applies a major or minor buff to yourself or an ally, you send out a wave of energy that reduces the armor of all nearby enemies within 12 meters by 3, 5, 4, 1 for 15 seconds. That's a really big debuff for a massive amount of time. The same amount of time as a taunt. This effect can occur once every 12, so you can constantly keep that up, actually, and will occur if any enemy is within range. So as long as you keep your buffs up, major buff on yourself, that's quite easy, you can constantly make this proc. However, with it being a debuff to penetration, it should hold the same AoE AoE restrictions to it, so it should affect 6 people or 6 enemies, because anything that's a major debuff, especially when it comes to penetration, is usually 6. For a second I was like, can't hear him, but because I'm in the car, the phone, we're having a fight over who was going to play the sound. Dear oh dear. So it's like new Alkosh. Basically, yes. However, they stack. So jump ahead, you're good, dude. I just have to set an example because I don't want everyone else to do it as well. And I know you can take it if I tell you. Rather than fuck. So, I hope this set will become a COR group set. See what we did there? Fucker. Core group set. Funny. Anyway, that is a tank set with a fucking penetration burst debuff. Oh yes. Thank you very much for the sub. Massively appreciated. Bit and Cake in the chat. Have you noticed here that they've given you a debuff set with tanky stats? But yes, they'll stack. Anyway, Alkoshi is a little different because you have to have weapon and spell damage to make it really strong. We'll get to that later because there's other stuff to go over. New monster mask, mag recovery, and stam recovery at the same time. So a very nice one piece. Now you don't have to go with Bloodspawn on its own or Brain Chokethorn on its own or one and the other to get the 2 bonuses. Now you just have the one piece if you wanted. And when you heal yourself or a group member, see again, all of these are group related. With a single target heal ability, grant the lowest health member within 28 meters minor courage and minor resolve, increasing their weapon and spell damage by 215 and armor by 2974 for 10 seconds. Daedric energy will bounce to nearby group enemies up to 3 times, applying minor courage and minor resolve for 10 seconds, and this effect can happen once every 15. So, while this is a very cool set, it does only apply to a maximum of 3 other people. So whether it works for you or whatever, it works for you as well, but you and up to 3 times it will bounce, so 4 people in total. YOLO still does give it to the entire group, so all 12 of you. So the one thing you need to take from this is that YOLO is a trial set, so you would have to go in a trial to get it. Here you just have to get a monster set. YOLO does cover 12 people, this doesn't, but this does apply minor resolve, which YOLO doesn't. So if you are in dungeon groups, for example, you are set to the limit of the set, which is 4 people. You can still get the same buff as a trial set. It only takes 2 pieces instead of 5, and you give everyone resistances at the same time. So out of the 2 sets, I know we don't like to go one set versus the other because there's lots of different ways to apply things in the game. There's no such thing as best. But out of the 2 sets, this would make more sense in a dungeon than YOLO because then you've still got space for 2 5-piece sets for putting this on, which is quite handy. So then you could apply stuff like this, maybe this massive debuff set plus the monster set, rather than a monster set you're probably not using very much and YOLO, and then you got more armor out of it as well, which is quite nice. So you've got a good balance of things to use there. Spoiler. Daedric Energy will always prioritize lower health group members that have not already been hit by Magma Incarnate. So lowest player first. Finding a good tank monster set. I can't take that away from you, dude. That's a valid statement. It is actually pretty damn good. Could also be good for Stand Warden here. It could be good for many things, Freebirdy. We could be here for a long time trying to figure out what it can go on and all the rest of it. So it's going to be a long night. But I'm just going to give you a brief example of where that can go. Or basically I did. But yes, you can put it on whatever you want. Where the fuck have I gone? Here's the thing. We'll go backwards a little bit. Heal yourself or group member. So even if you Dragon Blood yourself with a single target heal, it'll start bouncing to other players. But you have to be the lowest to get the first bounce. Where are we? Red Petal Bastion, new dungeon as well. Thundercaller, light set. Offensive Pen. Both penetrations, not just one, both. Physical and spell. Both weapon and spell damage. Both weapon and spell damage again, so a very hybrid-esque set. Then, dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack, also hybrid-ish, because it doesn't matter which weapon you use, it's a heavy attack. Call a bolt of lightning at your target, dealing shock damage. Thank you for the follow, and leaving a 4-meter lightning crater at their location for 6 seconds, dealing shock damage per second to enemies touching the crater. Small area, but 6-second damage over time. This effect can happen once every 12, so it's 50-50 with uptime and downtime. 6 seconds up, 6 seconds down. And it scales off of higher weapon damage or spell damage. So any character that you use this on will benefit from it from its highest offensive stat, basically. So if you spec for spell damage, it'll be higher for that. If you spec for weapon damage, it will be higher for that. You do have to consider penetration, of course, because it is lightning, so it will consider magical penetration or resistances, but then you do have that here because it's both types. So it will take some wiggling to put that on a full stamina set, but you could do it. It's kind of like a built-in liquid lightning. We'll have to see how that works because it doesn't actually say overall how much damage it will do because, of course, this will affect it. So we'll see how far we can get that. Lightning Crater, I hope visuals look good and it's not another Meteor ripoff. Well, hopefully that, and hopefully it's not too close to Liquid Lightning because that might get a bit confusing. Running over to a fucking Lightning Crater and wondering where the synergy is. Unless you can't see it. Grizzly Gourmet. Oh, this one's a funny one, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, stamina, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration, so both types. I'm just going to stop a minute. Do you remember, how many of you in the chat here listened to the podcasts from myself, Kyle, and Stark? Maybe last year or year before, and maybe even the year before that. How many of you were there for those? Do you remember the amount of times that I stated and anticipated the way that the game was going, that they are going to go full out into hybrid, like allowing you to basically build however the fuck you want to build, because stamina and weapon damage and crit and all the rest of it will literally merge together, so it's just a choice now. This is happening patch by patch. Go back to every single PTS just briefly, or listen to the really old podcast that we did, and you can hear this happening stuff being predicted. Just saying. Anyway, stamina as well. Nice stam bonus. Weird stam bonus. But anyway, whatever. It's a small one. Dealing light attack damage grants you a stack of Baker's Delight for 5 seconds. When you gain 3 stacks, so 3 light attacks, you'll get it. You create a sweet roll next to your target for 5 seconds. If you or an ally touches it, so you go cake hunting, both you and the ally get one of the following effects. So you restore the resources, you gain Empower for 10 fucking seconds, which is huge, and you gain Major Force for 10 seconds, so you get built-in Warhorn. However, since this doesn't seem to have much of a cooldown, only every 2 seconds, you could do 3 light attacks, and it will fire. Then, 2 seconds later, you can do 3 more, and it will fire again. You could stack 2 at a time. Fun. You just want it because it's fun? Indeed. Sweet roll proc. Can you pick it up? Hail the holy sweet roll. Well, it's going to be kind of like Essence Thief, isn't it? We have to look for it and go pick it up, but it's quite fun. Stark told me about them, but I'd never heard them. They're there. You can find them on Spotify, actually. I think they're still there. Stark, are they on there? You never listen to those. Fun trivia. This was a card for the Elder Scrolls Legend back before the game got shut down. No shit. Because the majority of hybrid builds have been crap for anything other than Overland. But yeah, Zos says play any race anyway. Here's the thing, Nafi. They may have been crap because the people making them didn't know how to do it. Maybe they thought slapping 2 sets together was enough. But on my stream, I've mentioned many times before that that's not how it works. All the gear and no idea is not going to get you anywhere. You are going to have to seriously consider how you structure something that complex. Hybrid builds can be quite complex. It's getting easier, but it's always been something you have to really, really think about. So now have an excuse to walk in AoEs because of Sweet Roll? Yes, you do. I have no idea. Carl managed publishing and podcasts. I think they're still on iTunes and Spotify. I think they are under tenets. So anyway, that's fun. Quite a substantial buff though if you don't have those already available. If you've got loads of Warhorns already, don't need it. If you've got loads of Empower already, so someone's got Gallonway or whatever, don't need it. This is nice though. Restoring the resources and getting this. I mean, it'd be quite nice in Maelstrom because you are running around. You are going to be picking stuff up if you need to rather than hiding behind bosses. Could be pretty good in there. Silver Rose. Stamina, health, stamina. Blocking an attack grants you Realm Shaper for 15 seconds, granting or gaining up to 1 stack every 0.5 seconds. When you reach 3, so a second and a half, you consume them and launch necrotic energy at the attacker, dealing magic damage and applying major maim for 12 fucking seconds. That, apart from Nova and Veil, if they run out of it, because there was 2 different variations for that, I believe may be the highest major maim available. Reducing their damage done by 10%, which is insane. And once you fire the necrotic energy, you cannot gain stacks for Realm Shaper for 12 seconds, dealing damage scales of max health. So the more health you have, the more damage it does. Once you fire it, you can't stack anymore, but you got 12 seconds from when it does fire. So technically, every 15 seconds, it's going to take you a second and a half to get that. Then it'll proc. Then you've got 12 seconds of it running. Once it's run out, obviously your 12 seconds start again because you're over the cooldown again. So that's not bad. You hold this for 15 seconds. You can do more blocks than that in 15 fucking seconds. This is too long. That needs bringing down to 5. This, honestly, is technically 100%. Not quite 100%, but almost. Who was that? Thank you very much. You are going to have a 10.5 second, sorry, not 10.5 second, a 13.5 second cooldown from the initial proc if you do get hit rapidly while blocking when this runs out. That's fucking high. They're going to nerf it. They're going to have to. Nerf is the wrong term. It's not real yet. They're going to alter it. You know better if the comment was a joke. What happened? Never mind, you don't have to do that. I have no idea. Kyle, no, I've read that one already. Where they get comment removed. Nafi, you know better than that. We don't have to argue about why it's removed. It just is. Move on. Outfit styles, there's more of those. Oh, monster set, my bad, missed that one. Weapon damage and spell damage, again, both stats. Dealing direct damage with an area of effect ability creates a 6-meter shadowy whirlwind below your enemy for 7 seconds. Enemies within the whirlwind take physical damage each second, so damage over time, and increase their damage taken from the area of effect abilities by 5%. Holy fuck. This can happen once every 15. So you got an 8-second gap between them. While this is active, damage taken from area of effect. How many AoE builds have I got? If you got this in the room, they all just got buffed. Nice. Ha ha ha. What have we got here? Outfit styles, mementos. We can't see those, obviously. We can look at them on the PTS themselves. We can't see the titles and stuff on your character, although you can read them if you want to. Patch notes. Oh shit, wrong button. Don't want to cancel that. Patch notes are now in the chat. Mods, you can keep hold of that if you want. You will have to, by the way, alter your setup in order to see the patch notes. You can watch them on your phone for the most part, especially if you're using your phone browser. But on desktop, check out Reddit. There's a post on there on how to fix that. You can actually do what I've done here, which you can't see, I don't think. But you can bookmark JavaScript, and you can open the page, then click the bookmark, and it'll work. But go on to Reddit for that. There's a post about it. More than 3? Yes, more than 3. So, monster set you just read with AoE, I can see that being nerfed in the first week. 5% is not that much if you consider it might be minor Slayer for most people. And let's face it, there are a lot of people out there that literally shout AoE is stupid. You know, stupid people do that. So they probably won't benefit from it that much. Although, you would see an increase in overall flat DPS because if you do have any AoE whatsoever, it will increase it. But the dummy doesn't have it. Solid Dragon, thank you very much. Want to see if I can fit that on Cleave. It sounds awesome. Here's the thing. You don't have to put everything on everything. That's what people mess up with. What they try to do is they think, oh, I must have this set and this set to make more damage come out. Oh, there's a new one. I have to put that on as well. There's another one. I have to put that on as well. Spread it out amongst your group. Only one person needs to wear this. You can put it on anyone. Princess, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Again, we're not going to go through all this stuff because we can't see them. PvP campaign changes. Get ready, people. If you didn't know this already, I did, but I couldn't say anything because we weren't allowed to talk about it. 7 seconds of 15 doesn't sound too ridiculous, but even the buff is higher. It's not that bad. Where's it gone? We'll go again. Maybe I misread it. This can happen every 15 seconds. See, it's not 15 seconds off. When you have stuff like this, where it does something for 7 seconds, but this can occur once every 15, that can start once every 15. As soon as that starts, the time ticks down from here. There's an 8-second gap. I would have thought since it's 7 and 15, they would have lined that up more with off balance. So there is 7 then 15, but we'll see. They probably alter it. Probably alter a lot of this stuff because it's the first pass of it anyway. Right. Update 31. The existing no CP Cyrodiil and Imperial City campaigns will now also prohibit proc sets from firing. We have expanded a number of sets from the original grouping that worked during the initial testing several months ago. So for those of you that did like no proc sets, congratulations, there's going to be a whole server for it. Only buffs its own AoE damage. No. AoE damage done to the target affected by it. Lots of sets. Willpower. What? Refresher. The following sets will not be affected by the rule sets when it was implemented in February. So Amber Plasm, Armor of the Trainee, Beekeeper, Crafty of Feek, Hulk and Drugger, Endurance, Fortified Brass, Grace of Ancients, Hundred's Rage, Impregnable, Lord of Julianus, Leviathan, Mother Sorrow, Plague Doctor, Shackle, Breaker, Spinners, Spriggans, and Willpower and Agility. So all of these are flat anyway. They're all flat bonuses. So obviously they're not going to be affected. And Plasma P, indeed. It's like the Lich days. You know when Lich used to only drop from Dolmens? Back before 1 Tamriel? It's that all over again, isn't it? I'm not going to read all of these because you can see them. But basically, the following sets will function with these campaign rules during the week's PTS patch and when 31 launches. So all of these sets here will be working in there. Again, they're all flat. In the coming weeks, the following sets will be added and will be included in the Update 31 launch. So all of these will work. As you can see, stuff like this. Dragon Guard, that gives you a reduction to ultimate cost, but it's flat. It doesn't require a proc. Archer's Mind gives you extra damage to bow abilities and stuff. That's not a proc. Seducer, although it does read the skill after you fired it and then alters it, well, other way around actually, that did technically in code count as a proc condition, but it's flat. So they have altered that, so it fixed. Bahara's Curse, the 4-piece bonus, so you've got that passive bonus against guards. I think that was the one for. Could be the wrong one. Blood Drinker, again, passive bonus. We'll go down to some of these. Hawkeye, passive. These are all passive bonuses that the game would read as procs in certain situations. Additionally, we'll be disabling Volundran in no CP, no proc campaign. So it's going to be raw as fuck. Flat stats for damage, recovery, pen, and resistances. Go nuts. It's all raw skill and stats. No procs allowed. That's his own unique server, by the way. So it's going to be pretty fucking cool. That's raw PvP. And it's no CPs as well. No champion points to buff you. No special shiny fireworks to buff you. Just you and your stats and your smashy weapon. Been poking the smart. What the fuck? No, of course not. How you doing anyway? Welcome to the stream. It's back to people who can manage resources now. Correct. Yeah, old school PvP as fuck. It's going to be really cool. You've still got your regular campaigns, obviously, but that's its own unique one. And there's been people going, it'll be dead. No, it fucking won't. Don't be stupid. It'll be dead for you because you won't be in there, but other people will use it. Still be terrible, but I think it'll be fun as hell. It will be. It'll be a lot more balanced. I mean, it's no guarantee that that's going to be the case because obviously you got your own skills and passives and all that kind of shit. But flat out build-wise, very different. You're going to have to rely on your potions, your food, and your own awareness of the situation. Won't be dead then? No, it won't. You'll be there? Of course you will. What have we got here? Rewards of the Worthy. So we've got new stuff here. Dark Convergence. So, where the fuck am I? Magicka, pen, weapon and spell damage. It's a light set, by the way. Casting abilities that leave an area of effect on the ground, or an effect on the ground either, will create an area that applies 30% snare and pulls in enemies every 2 seconds after a 0.5 second delay, and stuns them for 1 second. After 4 seconds, the area deals magic damage to all enemies in the area and additional magic damage to enemies within 3 meters of the center, increasing the damage by 10% for each target. This effect can fuck off. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds and scales off of your highest weapon or spell damage. This is a flat out stam or magic. It's got magic damage, so you want spell pen, but you could hybrid it if you wanted to. That is basically for your bombers. You suck everybody into the middle and go boom and fuck them up. That is going to be dirty. And I also think that's going to be altered. No more unkillable tank builds. Well, they might be strong, but not so much to the extent they are now. This set was designed with one goal in mind. Kill large groups. Pesky Zerg sitting on your keep or resource flag. Then send them to the void by pairing this with some hard CC and immobilizers. Could you imagine that shit on a fucking... Even a Dragon Knight bomber. You literally just pull everyone in, talons them up, spam fucking deep breath while Proxy Debt is sitting there running, and then bang, everyone's fucking dead. Also, probably while you've got a Death Royalty on, or Magma Shell so they can't fucking kill you. Dirty. Put that with Vicious Death. Good night. What else have we got? Plague Break. Offensive Pen. Weapon and spell damage. Weapon and spell damage again. Proxy Dead Dragon Leap. Well, even that. I mean... Just pin them. If it pulls them in anyway, that's going to count as a stun. So you want to put immobilization on top of that because it doesn't count as a stun. So they can't fucking move. If you leap, that will not do anything because they're already immune to it. But it will be fun as fuck though. Dealing direct damage to an enemy turns them into a plague carrier for 10 seconds. Oh, you know what happens there. If someone's got a negative AoE attached to them, they run around and chase their mates saying, get it off me. Dealing disease damage over the duration. So kind of like Venomous Smite. But disease instead of poison. If the plague is removed early, it explodes. Infected enemies within 8 meters of the carrier dealing disease damage. The explosion deals an additional 10% per enemy hit. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds and scales off your highest weapon or spell damage. So if someone gets affected by this and they try and cleanse it, they're going to go fucking boom and kill all their mates. That's really funny. They brought VSO to PvP. They did indeed. Again, have you noticed that there is a bit of a theme here? And I've said this throughout my entire fucking YouTube career. Sometimes you have to build for the situation, especially in PvE or PvP. AoE boost here. 2 PvP AoE based sets. Yes, Area of Effect is fun. You just have to know where to use it. Now, similar to Dark Convergence, we targeted large groups again with this set, focusing on their ability to have numerous purges running, because lots of people do, especially Tempers, spamming fucking Purify. Making locking them down and bleeding them out incredibly difficult to do. Now, larger groups must purge more carefully, running the risk of setting off ticking time bombs and having to heal the aftermath instead of repeatedly casting it with reckless abandon. So that is an issue. People can have really high recovery. They can spam cleansers all fucking day long. Now you're going to be penalized for having that ability to spam it too much. You'll have to be careful when you use it. So you might want to out heal it instead of constantly just spam and purge. These are nasty sets. I'm impressed. It's pretty good. The heavy set. Health, armor, and offensive penetration. So a bit of everything. Stunning or immobilizing your enemy causes them to burst with frost magic. Applying the chilled status effect and dealing 26% of their total physical and spell resistance as frost damage to themselves and enemies within 8 meters of them. This effect can happen once every 7 seconds. That, boys and girls, is a fucking tank killer. Or a tank bomb. So, you know people that stack really high resistances to make sure that they always have that plus on the 50% mitigation when they get hit by a Nightblade with a really high pen? So say 55k fucking resistances. If you hit them with 15k pen, they've still got loads left. Can't even touch them. The more resistances they have, the more that's going to fucking do to their group. I would highly advise people when you figure out what this looks like, that you don't hug your tanks too much. Because they're going to go boom. And then this is going to go fucking boom. And then this is going to go fucking boom. I like them. They're quite fun. It's about time, to be fair. If I'm completely honest, yes, of course, there is lots and lots and lots of fucking chaos in PvP. Big fucking groups of people. You always end up 1v1v1v1v1 while someone's getting jumped by fucking 10 of them and they can't do nothing. And then you've always got that one bomber with vicious death and an explosion. How bored are you... Not bored, because it is fun. No, fuck it. We'll say it as it is. How bored are you of just having vicious death? Are you still going to use it? Yes. Is it still awesome? Yes. Was it boring having one explosive set over everything else, which wasn't quite up to par with it? Now you've got some extras to go with it, which is very cool. Also, this is guaranteed chilled status effect. If you're holding an ice staff, by the way, that definitely applies brittle straight away, which means if they are a squishy squish and they don't have any impen and you crit them with stuff afterwards, they're fucked. Mifflin, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Multi-threaded rendering, so this is all performance-based stuff. So you can read that in your own time as well, because otherwise we're going to get stuck. We've got more combat stuff to get to. Interaction priority changes. So we are going to go over this, actually. We've added new rules for determining which things you'll interact with when there's a potential conflict. Generally speaking, interactable objects that are valuable, such as resource node and lootable corpses, will have priority over things that are mobile on player-made, such as companions and momentums. Or player-made, even. Words are hard. You should also have less of a problem attempting to interact with doors, die stations, and other permanently available interactable objects, even when they are surrounded by Jubilee cakes or Sork pets. Okay, so what they did there is they made it so you don't keep pressing on your fucking merchant every time you're trying to loot something. Great. But they did also make it so that cake doesn't quite get in the way anymore. Put beer and cake in the chat for the death of the ninja cake. To be fair, ESO PvP wasn't designed for 1v1. It's supposed to be all-out war Zergs, and Vicious Death has been on the go-to set for 4 years. Yes, it has been. It's 4 years too long. It's about time they introduce some new sets that do kind of similar things or can help with it. And yeah, people don't understand it's all out war. I explain it all the time. They go, 1vx, bro. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. Anyone that has ever said it makes sense has never had a valid explanation of what that actually means. It's basically backwards algebra. It doesn't work. Also, they took away bare door spam. Yes, I know. Unfortunately. We'll be looking at feedback on this new priority set and how it feels throughout the PTS cycle, so be sure to let us know how the interaction rules are working for you. So definitely, if you do see any issues, let them know. Thank you for the bits, much appreciated. Mail reply. This is massive. How long have we asked for this? Now you can press reply to your emails in-game rather than trying to type in that really stupid fucking capital X small x, capital X small x, 1111 I small L XX7. Those fucking stupid names. Now you don't have to find them on PSN or Xbox or even PC. You can just press reply. Thank fuck for that. Someone did it in the trial today. We finished and go talk to NPC and it was a cake on him and no one could turn in the quest. That is called ninja caking. We've been doing that for a long time. That is where the ninja cake emote came from because we do it on purpose. Turned a friend yesterday. I wish that would happen to companions. Yeah, indeed. New collectibles. We're not going to go over those. New homes. We can't see them right now. And new furnishings. We all love that stuff. But again, I've got no visual in front of me so I can't show you shit. New prologue quest. Excellent. And template information is for PTS, obviously, because you're going to have a basic brand new character. You'll have to put through the tutorial, or you can have a max level one. But you want to go to the top left-hand side of the screen in your character screen to bring the drop-down menu down, and you can get it from there. Hey Zoe, how you doing today? Interesting stuff on the patch. Yes, there is, but you'll have to bear with me because I'm trying to read it live. Don't get ahead of me. No spoilers. But yes, so far so good. Combat and gameplay. Companions. PTS is up. DJ, I'm streaming. Go play it. Companion idle animations now transition more smoothly. Okay, good. Bastion will now verbally respond less often to players looting high quality items. I gather he was annoying. Companions no longer grieve for fallen group mates. Why not? Why not? Dear oh dear. Thank you very much for the sub. Beer and cake in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. Prop, no spoilers in the chat about what is in the PTS patch notes. I am trying to read it so people can kind of catch up at the same time. Where have I gone? Fixed various minor text issues and discrepancies in companion dialogue. Fixed an issue that could cause display issues with the companion's eyes while crouched and running. Okay. Bastion was like that coin you made there. We should go and... Sorry, we should go to the nearest tavern. Guys, a pain in the ass. I haven't actually unlocked him on the live server yet. I refuse. I've been using Miri instead. Reduce the frequency of companion responsiveness to specific player behaviors, including crafting cheese-based dishes and interacting with bookshelves. Now, while I understand people don't want to hear them talking all day long, there was a feature in the game where you could actually enhance it or lessen it. So I don't understand that. Because there was a bug where Miri, where she would have a complete nervous breakdown if any of the group members took a dirt nap. I thought that was to do with her character. I didn't realize they were deleting her personality. Okay, whatever. People complain about some weird shit. Bastion shit. Fix an issue that could cause a companion to provide incorrect dialogue. Okay, that helps. Hey, you should go into that corner over there. Ah. Oh, sorry. I'm wrong. Thank you for the bits. Much appreciated. Bit and cake in the chat. We have started the hype train. Fix an issue which could cause bows equipped by your companions to unexpectedly rotate. So visual bug there. Also, sometimes they weren't actually, excuse me, firing the bow. They were, but you couldn't see it. Miri will now correctly respond to you at the intended frequency while crafting alcoholic beverages. Miri no longer gains rapport when looting shitchick portals, as she's not fascinated with them the way Bastion is. I'm losing my voice here already. I mean, she could just be on the edge of a complete breakdown. That's an option too. You're not wrong. Mary will now properly face your character prior to leaving in disgust when your rapport is low enough. You pissed her off. She had a sulk. Improved, adjusted various companion pathing behavior. The quickened item trait for companions will no longer affect core mechanics such as dodge roll, break free, and bash, and now only apply to abilities as intended. Fix an issue that could cause companion dialogue to not update correctly after accepting the companion's personal quests. There's a lot. Fixed a rare issue that could result in a companion not being visible to you but still be interactable. Invisible Ghost Companion. Companion will now occasionally respond to additional situations such as being healed and witnessing their player gain a champion point. Oh my god! Do they cheer you on when you get a champion point? Yay! You can have a star. We are going to put your macaroni owl on the fridge. Fucking great. If you streak on a stalk of a companion out, they get lost in the atmosphere. They do, but they're supposed to appear back where you are again. You can no longer talk to companions while they are mounted, and you have a quest. Fair enough. Thank you very much for the bits. Much appreciated. Group content, dungeons and groups, general stuff. Rockgrove basks in snakes. Will now correctly fire abilities as intended. Yeah, because that was not doing stuff it should have been. That was a little too easy. Rockgrove Trial will now drop 3 perfected set items rather than 2 when completing hard mode. Nice! Spirit, thank you for the bits. Much appreciated. Another CP Master, GG. Exactly. They turn into your own personal Igor. Bouncy will now play appropriate interrupt animations when she is interrupted by Crushing Shock or Venom Arrow. Good, because that makes a bit more sense. It's a Chew. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thanks whoever gave me a sub. Oh, of course. No grieving for your friends, but the champion points. Get your priorities straight. Yeah, of course. Oh, he died. Shh. Shut up. Oh, he got a champion point. That's right. Congratulate people for their good things. Don't be sad because they're dead. My god, he's calling him Bacon Snake. Fair. It's quite a plain boss, really, isn't it? I know it's a mini type thing, but you know what I mean. Quests and zones, we won't necessarily go over those because they are subjective. It depends on the player. That's not necessarily a whole over-the-top thing because some of you might have already fucking done it. There's a few things that have got some issues there. There's going to be a lot of that stuff that will apply to very few or very large amounts of people, but quest stuff I usually skip so people can look at them in their own time. Itemization. Fix a typo in Chain of the Werewolf. Updated the Tide Glass Beads Antiquity lead, so to also have a chance to drop from any Alchemy Harvesting node in Shadowfen. So there you go. For all of you farming the fuck out of Shadowfen, now you know. Black Rose equipment box can now be opened by characters of any level instead of only level 50. Handy, handy. That's Imperial City, by the way. Maybe they changed the companions because of Don't Be Dead Claw. Do you know what? You might be right. You might be right. Miri may have been literally sent to a fucking institute to try and calm down her over-the-top outbursts because of the amount of times he dies in front of her. It's scarred her for life, man. It's completely fucked up. She's got a padded room and everything. Quests again. Fix those. Dungeon group stuff. Mess Hall of Misery. Black Rose Prison. Rename the secondary damage component of Bat Swarm to Harrowing Bat to better differentiate the two sources. Don't get killed by the bats. And then you won't ever see that. VBRP in the chat if you want the guide. Fix an issue which could result in extra furnishing recipes dropping in Murkmire. Eek. She went insane because of claw flooring. Ha! Pretty good. Treasure maps in Hrothgar. What? Renamed treasure maps in Hrothgar. Sorry, I should read the whole thing. So they properly reflect the zone they're related to. Crafting. How the fuck do you say his name? Felarian now has a map pin on the first step after accepting his jewelry crafting certification quest. So if you're now starting jewelry crafting, that's going to help you. Juicy stuff. Again, remember, I'm reading it live. Oh, you missed the hype train? Rip. If you've read this already, keep it to yourself. We're going to get there. I did have a meeting 3 days ago with Zos. I already know some of the stuff and things. A lot of the stuff and things, actually. Wasn't allowed to talk about it. Now I can give you a better... What's the word for it? Idea? Should we say idea? A better idea of what this is supposed to do. How things are intended. All that good stuff. Not just from the spoilers that they're reading here, but obviously from my own conversations with them. So the stream team partners actually had a meeting, which was very nice. Drastically improved the back-end scripting of Taunt to be more responsive and follow its intended rules better. See that? Taunt has been altered. This should fix multiple issues where taunts would sometimes lose target context, exhibit issues when cast from range, and had race conditions where some parts of the hidden behaviors, such as taunt immunity, would still apply to a target even if you fail to taunt them. Oops. So they fixed some issues here. Also, updated break free to follow a more consistent cost rule when compared to other abilities. This will reduce situations where it could desync your stamina bar when using, as well as improving the response time in validating if you have another resource to cast it. Does the rage taunt, rage taunt work yet? It works, dude. It's just that there are some issues sometimes. When you sit there and you're like, I'm sure I fucking taunted it, and it didn't fucking apply, you weren't always in the wrong. Sometimes you were naffy. Sometimes you fucked it up. But not always. Sometimes it wasn't your fault. Don't worry, I'm going to send Miri along to tell you that congratulations, you did something good for once. Many bonuses that reduce its cost have also been changed to be handled naturally by the server rather than as an ability to speed up validation in cases where you are using many of them. Nafi likes it. Increase the damage taken reduced from Battle Spirit passive to 55%, up from 44%. So, this was briefly mentioned on... Excuse me. This was briefly mentioned on the forum recently, and we did talk about this in the meeting as well. They're trying to balance out their kind of time to kill type stuff. Are people too tanky? Are people too squish? Can you kill people too fast? Can you kill them too slow? Are they healing too much? Are they not healing enough? And all these different situations where you can't always make it perfect for everyone because it can be build specific, not necessarily overall game specific, where that gets a little more tricky. So if it's build specific, maybe someone just made a fucking OP build. If it's across the board, then that's a bigger problem. Build issues, they can alter sets very, very simply. If it's across the board, it gets tricky. So they're trying to address that kind of stuff. Dude, you range taunt a boss first thing you do in a room, and he runs right past you. Yeah, he didn't care. Whatever insult you threw at him, didn't care. Didn't phase. He went, oi! Nah, fuck you, mate. Not interested. Anyway, after recent adjustments to the base character stats, you know, we've got higher flat stats now. That's why lower players can actually maintain some form of fairly decent performance in comparison to higher champion point players if they're playing the same way, rather than much, much less than before. Champion points and item set scaling. We've seen a significant shift in the meta in the ways that we wanted. So basically what they mean by that is, you know, the whole one way or no way mentality where everyone wears the same fucking shit left, right and center. That can sometimes in some areas, especially in PvP, have a very harsh impact on the player base as a whole. If everyone's using the same shit, like when heavy armor was really, really popular, you're never going to break through the fucking shit. And then when everyone's a bomber, you're never going to get through that. If everyone's in stealth, you're never going to get away through that. They want to make sure that although there are lots of different things that are always going to be popular in some way or another, they don't want to outperform versus everything else, and they want you to always have a choice. In many cases, I've read that bit. In other areas, primary burst damage and overall time to kill, we've seen pretty radical shift to something that's dangerously low. In efforts to expand the window of time to kill, we're updating the effective base player damage reduction from 50 to 60, so you don't hit as hard. Remember that players naturally take 10% less damage now, which is why Battle Spirit was reduced to 44%, to preserve the original 50%. To make up for the added stats all characters have, especially in non-CP environments. So that is going to be where you see the biggest impact. So champion point PvP, obviously you've got your resistances if you decide to stack those. But when it comes to non-champion point PvP, obviously you don't have that buffer to it. So that's when you see the biggest impact of the change. Technical, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. If you stop using the self-taunt, it wouldn't run past you. The following passives and player abilities will now grant hybrid stats, remember those podcasts, to help improve their viability and accessibility to off-meta builds because we love them too. See that? They got jokes. Agility now grants equal weapon and spell damage. So that is medium armor, I believe. Balanced Warrior, which is on the Templar, now grants armor and... sorry, rather than spell resistance. It gives you both types and now grants weapon and spell damage values instead of just weapon damage even. Brutal Carnage bonus now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Concentration now grants offensive penetration rather than just one or the other. Dexterity, so that's instead of spell, you get both of them. Dexterity now increases critical damage and healing done per piece worn up to 2% at the final rank rather than weapon crit. As Prodigy now grants weapon crit as well. So, again, crit damage and healing done. That's bonkers. Just complete the first heist without being detected. Nice, congratulations. Is the music too loud? Tell me if it is. Flawless Dawnbreaker. now grants weapon and spell damage. Savage Strength. Where's it gone? No, Prodigy. We're up to. Now grants equal crit chance. Music is fine. So, you've got lots of passives here, which instead of being one or the other, you've got a balance.
Drinks all around.
Thank you for the follow, by the way. My crit chance. Let me read it again. My crit chance QQ, my 7 medium build. Well, here's the thing. They want you to balance out your armor types because you don't need 5 pieces anymore unless you want to use the skill. If you're not using the skill, then you want to take advantage of just the passives, mix and match. So now you can get crit chance for both types and crit damage, which you could never get before. Ah, bit loud. Turn it down. There you go. Barely noticeable now. Savage Strength now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Scaled Armor now grants up to 1650 armor rather than spell resistance. So that's really nice. And Slayer now grants weapon and spell damage values. That's your Undaunted passive right there. So if you have Dawnbreaker on your bar, you don't just get weapon damage, you get spell damage as well. Run a 5-piece set, you need 5 pieces. Where do medium wearers get crit chance? Well, what you could do is you could wear another set with that isn't medium, and you could put the medium stuff on your jewelry and weapons. Fix multiple issues with ability bar timers displaying incorrect durations. We know that's been an issue because obviously when you activate some vampire abilities, it says you've got like 24,000 fucking seconds left and you don't. Fix numerous issues with synergies failing to be considered as ability casts. That was an issue. Some synergies have been a bit shit. Note the requirements that check for abilities with cost will still fail with synergies. Okay. Now, fix an issue where abilities using the new area of effect ability scripting from update 30, such as Dragon Knight Standard or Negate Magic, could hit innocents targeting unintentionally. That was really fucking funny. I think they should still keep it because I like watching people throw an Adric Spear at the Undaunted Pledge area to try and get someone's attention and accidentally hit people. I was thinking 5-2 medium light. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. If not, go on the PTS and go try it. We could be here a long time going over all the millions of possibilities, but I'm just going to kind of glaze over where you could and couldn't go and then move on to the next bit. Otherwise, we'll be here for a long time. So far, actually, we're only halfway through it, and it only took like an hour. It's not too bad. Adjusted many player abilities to no longer attempt to remove stealth, or listen to this one, or invisibility when they should not. So they've decided new things. This is also expanded to any damage over time effect, rather than only single target damage over time effects, as we want the removal and denial of stealth and invisibility to be more active rather than passive. This means that the only player abilities that should remove stealth are area of effect damage, stuns, fears or immobilizers, as well as reveals. Excuse me. Attacks made from detection potions active may still damage a target, but will not strip their stealth or invisibility. So if you do burst shit and they're caught inside of it, it's like, gotcha, fucking saw you. But if you're trying to fling single target stuff, you shouldn't be able to hit them anyway, because you can't see them, right? Also fix many issues where attacks that were checking in areas regularly to hit single targets could target stealth or invisible targets, such as Force Pulse or Shrouded Daggers with bounce attacks. That shouldn't hit anything if it can't see the target because you can't activate it. Any attacks that checks in the area of effect to attack singular targets will no longer attempt to even apply targets under these effects. So you do have some area of effect things that do hit multiple targets initially or damage over time. So an example of that is Noxus Breath is area of effect in the first hit, which is direct, which does count, but the dot is individual per target. That won't stick. So you might wake them up on the first hit, but they can just stealth. You can't get a dot on them. So when I Rune Cage and Nightblade in PvP now, they can't just Dark Cloak out of it. Correct. There are bonuses to this on both sides to that extent. Can they still stealth out of Mage's Wrath? Dude, Mage's Wrath is not damage over time. It has been a bit busted the way it gets read, but that shouldn't be affecting it. It's a single target hit. But it is timed, so it should be removed. Depends on what you're using, though. If you're talking Nightblade stealth, that's one thing. If you're talking actually hiding or invisible pots, slightly different. The main goals for these adjustments were to improve the consistency and reliability of things like Shadow Cloak. There you go. See? We're getting there. While also stamping out more deliberate rules on what should counter the effects. Currently, these effects have a lot of frustrating counters, mainly ones that feel like the attacker is getting for free on attacks they'd be using naturally regardless, such as pulsing AoE dots in PvP, making it relatively easy to deny stealth and invisibility when you know how. While we did spend a lot of time helping these effects feel more reliable, we also buffed many of the more deliberate sources of stealth and invisibility denial to make countering them feel better in general and better reward going out of your way to utilize them. So now you have to play a bit clever. If you want to reveal someone, you can, but you need to know what reveals them rather than just hit them with fucking everything. That's why I understand DK I run AoE morph of spike armor. You mean the volatile armor? The initial hit will count, but the damage over time won't. That's single. Yeah, that won't work anymore. That's a single damage over time, single target effect. The burst will hit them in AoE, but it's a single per person. Now you'll need something more substantial, like what's the word for it? Deep breath. That'll do it, because that is an AoE burst. That's not single target. It does have single target effects to the heals that you receive from them, but you should be able to burst them with it. Failing that, just put down fucking eruption. That'll snare them as well. The initial hit will stick them to the floor. What about elemental blockade? We're going to be here for a while. Elemental blockade is area of effect. That's not single target. The glyphs are, though. Let's look at these. Fix an issue where the guaranteed crit chance and damage for successful sneak attacks could, in some cases, apply to multiple attacks at once, which they shouldn't. It should be just the first one. And fix an issue where multiple heals based on damage over time were not considered healing over time, such as blood craze and structured entropy, because it is per tick, and it should be. It's not an... It is single target, but it's not instant. Dragon Knight changes. Earth and Heart. Magma Armor. Corrosive Armor Morph. Fixed an issue where the penetration check on direct damage of this morph was not consistent with other sources. That is supposed to work with direct stuff, including rapid strikes and shit like that. I wasn't always applying. Thought I saw someone start the fight earlier. You may have done. I didn't see it. Molten Weapons fixed an issue where you could not cast this ability or its morphs on nearby neutral enemies. That used to get stuck as a offensive skill in towns as well. He's like, Ninjas, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. There you go, the fight is up. Get stuck in. Necromancer Bone Lord. Sorry, not Bone Lord. Bone Yard. From the Grave Lord skill line. I made up a word then. I put two together. Unnerving Boneyard Morph. Fixed an issue where this morph's damage was not considered an area of effect attack. RIP. One of the patches it was. They must have fucked that up. Flaming Skull. The bonus damage from this ability in its morph's third cast has now been built into their damage coefficients rather than as a bonus modifier effect. This will clean up some calculation errors that result in less damage than intended when stacking multiple bonuses. Okay. Shadow for the Nightblade. Shadow Cloak. Fix an issue where this ability in its morph's protections could work even if the attacker had a detection potion active. So you could find them and the buff was still applying, and it shouldn't be. Robert, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Storm Calling for the Sorcerer. Overload. Light attacks from this ultimate and morphs now break stealth when cast. There's nothing sneaky about lobbing giant bolts of lightning at your foes. Fair enough. Although, that should probably line up with a few other abilities as well, because some other things are quite dramatic. Dawn's Wrath. Backlash. This ability in its morphs now retain 50% of the damage you dealt to the target, up from 20%. Holy fuck! To help be more reliable in player versus player encounters. That is pretty fucking high. The final explosion now scales off of your spell and weapon damage depending on the morph, rather than magic or stamina. And the final explosion also now scales with both positive and negative bonuses rather than only negative ones. Haha, backlash, go boom. Shit. Yeah, that's pretty fucking strong. 50% of the damage instead of 20. That can already hit way in excess of like 60k plus, depending on buffs and bonuses. Even higher than that, especially in PvE. PvP, that's really fast paced as well. It's hard to get away from. If you don't dodge it correctly, and then don't think or cleanse or whatever a very, very short period of time after applying it to yourself, you're going to get hurt. Oh, that will be interesting. So let me just get this right. Toppling Charge, Purifying Light, Jabs, and Solar Barrage, dead.
Winning. I love winning.
Yeah,
Drinks all
basically.
around.
Backlash, go boom. Thank you very much indeed for the follow. Radiant Destruction. Fixed an issue where both morphs of this ability had scaling coefficients with less significant figures than intended, resulting in some very minor lost damage. That wasn't a hugely obvious, but there was a drop. Oppression. This morph no longer increases damage done of the ability based on your current magicka, but instead increases the damage scaling off of the execute multiplier to 500%. This should retain roughly the overall maximum power of the morph, but with far less micromanagement. So you no longer have to maintain a full or almost full magicka bar to get the most out of it. Instead, it just is stronger. Jesus Beam OP. However, just remember, glory heals you. Can we ask us for no Templar campaign then, please? Like they needed a fucking buff. Shit the bed. I mean, technically, yes, of course, as for Magplar, but, I mean, you could hybridize your build and make a Jesus Beam work on a Stamplar. I've done it many times before. In fact, I got sworn at for it because I went after someone with stamina-based jabs, got them down to almost fucking 15%, and then nuked them with the Jesus Beam, and they wondered what the fuck I was doing. They're dead, by the way, so they can scream all they like. Green Balance, Accelerated Growth. Slashduck, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. The passive now grants Major Mending for 2 to 4 seconds. Obviously, how many points you got into your passives. On proc, up from 1.5 to 3 seconds. Fair enough. Winter's Embrace. Frozen Gate. This ability and its morphs now traps now last 15 seconds. I really misread that to start with, rather than 30. That I'm not really pissed off about, to be perfectly honest. I know why they've done that, because there are applications in PvP where you can just sit there and fucking fire and forget, and eventually enemies will just come to you anyway. In PvE, I mean, do you really need it held there for 30 seconds anyway? Not really. It's been a day, so drinking beer. Nice! I haven't got any beer. Fixing issue where, in some cases, these abilities could remove themselves before their timer ran out. Obviously, they should last their full duration. This is because... Okay, tip here. Lots of people do use this, and some of the ninjas in Patreon have been using this anyway, because they keep showing us video clips of it. But Nature's Bounty in PvP, obviously you get those Night Blades or DKs or whatever that go out the door, in the door, out the door, in the door. And you try and hit them, and they just fuck you around all day. Well, obviously, you put those down in front of the door, out the door, straight to your feet. Fuck yourself. That's really funny, but 30 seconds holding that there is too long, and they want you to obviously maintain your resources within a large-scale fucking fight, rather than fire and forget for 30 whole seconds. So... this is not really a negative, but it does fix a little bit of an issue. Just bear in mind, of course, there's going to be a lot more casts. Weapon stuff, so destruction stuff, ancient knowledge. Happy patch days to you. H.G. Wells, how you doing? This passive, ancient knowledge, by the way. This passive now better discerns what is an area of effect attack and what isn't, with its bonuses damage based on your staff type. Now, that was not always obvious to everyone. I have explained this many times in my videos, but obviously not everyone watches them all. Increase the bonus of both Inferno and Lightning staff types to 5 to 10%, up from 4 to 8%, to help better match the power of Twin Blade and Blunt or heavy weapons. So that means if you are using single target hits with a flame staff, you get 10% more damage from those instead of 8. And if you use an area of effect skills, you will get 10% more damage from them instead of 8 as well. So that's quite nice. Destructive Touch, you know, the one that taunts if you have an ice staff. This ability and its morphs now guarantee their respective element type status on hit. Guaranteed brittle. Although Nature's Bounty's got guaranteed brittle anyway, just saying. Made a whole build for you. Now they changed it. Now you don't need it anymore. Delete. Increase the cost of the skill to 2970, up from 2700, to incorporate the added auxiliary effect. So the extra bonus means extra cost. That's not going to be a massive negative unless perhaps you're a vampire, maybe really high stages, but for that it's not too bad. Increase the range to 15 meters from 14 for better consistency, since Destructive Clench was already 15 meters. Fine. Frost Touch and Reach versions of this ability now deal 80% more damage on the initial hit to make them equal to other ranged spammable damage attacks, to give love to those Frost DPS out there. Oh yeah. Destructive Clench Morph, the Frost version of this ability, still remains tank focused rather than DPS focused, and as such has received a cost reduction to 1485. Down from 2700. It also applies Major Maim for 5 sec. Oh my fucking god! You know that set earlier? That was the highest Major Maim bonus in the game so far, the one that was up the list. That's now the highest Major Maim in the game because it's infinite if you spam the fucker. Major Maim on tap. But don't spam taunt like that because it's stupid. That's fucking nice. Also, pain in the arse in PvP. Because you're going to be able to immobilize on tap. You're going to have Major Maim on tap. Fucking get in. That is good. So one morph, massive ice damage. Other morph, massive control. Nature's Bounty for the win. Yeah, it just basically made everyone get hit a lot less harder. So he's got Major Maim and Minor Maim and Major Protection and stuff and things. And explosions. How fucking cool is that? Let's read stuff. With the introduction of Frostbite set in the update 30, we saw a lot of discussion about the viability of frost damage sets and how their main drawback. So let's just face it. When it comes to... Rich is in the chat. He's going to hate me for this, but it's true. Because he's a fair person, aren't you, Rich? Nukes Zai from the stream team. When it comes to specific damage on sets, although there are multiple millions of possibilities of how to make a character, specific damage when you are using multiple different skills can somewhat hinder your other abilities. Quite a lot. So you might have a fire set that gives you 600 spell damage towards your fire abilities, but then any magic you're using, you don't get a bonus for it. Any ice, no bonus. Lightning, no bonus. You start mixing things up. Your set is only working on a couple of skills, really. So what you really need for that is spell damage, which gives you everything. And the same applies to the physical side of things as well. And in most situations, the flat weapon or flat spell damage sets do generally outperform the other stuff, unless you build very specific. The ice stuff, on the specific side of things, versus what we had for other things as well, lacked fucking heavily. It was just shit. You had Isgrimor's and maybe Winter's... What the fuck is it called? Winter's... I've forgotten what the fuck it's called. I want to say it's not Embrace. That's a fucking passive skill line. Ah, it's from Maelstrom. Winterborn. Thank you. That one. There was like 2 major sets and Ice Heart from fucking Brain. Direfrost. And it just felt a bit flat. The new set they brought in 30 was nice, but again, not really enough. But it was a good start. Seeing wizard you are. And it was getting there, but not enough. This does push that a little bit. It still does mean that if you are building for multiple different sources of damage, you're probably still going to benefit from more spell damage flat. But this does allow for a little bit more versatility, shall we say, with the skills that you thought were going to be a bit shit. So, what I'm trying to say is it's a good move. I still think we need more ice stuff because most of it is obviously defensive. But it's a step in the right direction. So the defensive stuff, you've got Winter's Respite. Yes, that's already been brought up. Ice Furnace isn't ice damage as such. You need to do ice damage to do fire damage. And the proc doesn't proc a proc, so that's backwards. But when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, most of it's defensive. You've got Frozen Watcher. You have Winter's Respite. You've got Ice Heart. Some of them do have damage applications as such, but it's not that much. And the flat damage sets to Ice were a bit pumba. But it looks like they are still understanding that people do want to have Frost as a destructive damage type alongside Fire and Lightning, rather than just being tanky. It's called Destruction after all, isn't it? It's Destruction stuff. It's not make everything stand still stuff, although we do like that bit. What part of Ice part do Ellie Succession? I can't remember. It does. It has Fire, Ice, and Lightning. It's got all 3. But again, you would have to have all 3 elements in order to take advantage of that. But if you have any magic damage, Nafi, with the Succession set, you're fucked because it doesn't boost magic damage. It boosts the 3 elements instead. There's 4. Technically. People get confused with magic and magicka. Magic damage is a damage type. Magicka is a resource. So I said it's trash. Yeah, I mean, in some cases it can be. It's not a bad set. It has a place. You could build to just have those damage types. But as soon as you introduce something like Mystic Orb, you're fucked. Not Mystic, Necrotic. Because it doesn't apply. And the same happens with a lot of the Frost stuff. There wasn't enough of it. But the alteration to the skill, and then the consideration of, say, for example, the Master's Ice Staff, where you use this weapon or use this skill, and it's cheaper, and does more damage with the new setup to this stuff here, that means you can gain the extra spell damage while using an ice set, while using an ice spammable being enhanced, and everything starts lining up again. Granted, that does again push in one direction, and it's nice to have lots more. Not that there aren't, but you can see how things are actually not just slap one set on and hope that it increases my ice damage. You can now put a few things together and really, really push it. That was a long way of going around what I really meant, but you get there in the end. Regardless of power, where there was no frost damage ability that could be used as spammable attack, which we've now got, rather than bloating those sets further, we've decided to let Frost Touch and its morphs stand out. Frost Touch and Reach now deal ranged spammable damage on initial hit. Additionally, Frost Clench has been missing the mark for being a viable taunt compared to Puncher or Inner Fire. Excuse me. So I've decided to amp it up by introducing a source of major maim while also reducing the cost. The changes to the base ability also help to gain a form of on-demand minor brittle. See, said that already. Helping both DPS and tanks out regardless. So while Nature's Bounty is literally built for AoE minor brittle 100% the fucking time, single target you've got all the time anyway. Do you think this will change Frost Staff, which will make people use it as damage as an ult? Dude, I literally just went over that for like too long. Like Temper Skills, Owl, Sun, Mean, and Fire. Not all of them. Some of them are magic. But only Vampire's Bane does a fire damage. Every other skill is magic. Yeah, pretty much. Elemental Force. This passive now properly states it affects all status effect chances rather than only elemental. Whoa! So, if it affects all status effects, that means that you could technically have a poison-ish build and use a Destro Staff and proc more poison. Or bleeds. Or whatever. Bleeds are damage, but you know what I mean. The hemorrhage from it. Or, if you're using physical damage, minor maim. Maim even. Breach. It's a long day, sorry. Getting the words right eventually. Just have to keep correcting it. People do Magden can become brittle. Yes, they can. You can do that anyway if you're using an ice staff. Because you have to hold an ice staff while you chill someone in order to apply it. That is all in the video. They put nature in the chat. This ability and its morphs can now once again be reflected. Once upon a time, a special rule was made for these abilities to not be, as it interacted poorly with the charged base reflect skills, such as ye old reflective scales, which have been clipped. They have been. Poor wings. Therefore, this behavior is irrelevant and inconsistent. I haven't checked the new set yet. Well, the old set yet. You changed it. I know you did, because you spoke about it. There is a reflect. There's a few reflects, but there is a reflect specifically tied to one of the ultimates, the sword and board one, which is less easy to spam than Flappy Wings. Bleed Disease Physical, so much fun. Yes, DJ, they are. They are all physical damage types, which all have their own status effects. And you missed one out, by the way. Poison. Hello, patch notes are people reading, cannot see them to find these. They are on the forums. They are 7.1.0, I think that is. Where have we gone? Wall of Elements. Fixed an issue where the wall of fire and morphs bonus damage against burning targets didn't work past 9 seconds, meaning the final 5 seconds of blockade of fire could not benefit from it. So there's an actual damage increase there based on a bug or feature. Should we call it that? Feature. Weakness to elements. Elemental susceptibility. This morph now persists indefinitely until the target leaves combat or dies rather than lasting 20 seconds and refreshing whatever they take damage from you. So, that particular morph is Breach. You got Major Breach from that one. It doesn't apply magic still, but it does mean as long as you keep hitting the target, it will keep refreshing. The reason I would assume they've done that is because, quite honestly, that's an unnecessary callback to the server every single time you hit the fucking target to reapply a friggin' skill. It's a waste of resources. So it makes sense that if it's on a target, it fucking stays there. So technically, you could just put it on everything in the room before they attack you. Swap skills and then run in and kill everything and Breach is there. But don't do that, because I didn't say to do that. Also, they're probably going to fix that before it goes live. Don't think I've ever used that morph. That's because you don't try stuff out enough, Naffy. You listen to your mates too much. I use it a lot. Just not so much anymore, because I don't really fucking need it. Dual Wield, Flurry, Bloodthirst. Don't nuke this. Don't nuke this! This morph now heals up to 33% of the damage done per hit, rather than up to 63% of the final hit. This will result in slightly more healing effectiveness and more responsive heal. Now remember when I told you in Toxicity build that you must connect the last hit in order to get the heal? They just made it easier for you. Every stab heals you. So that's basically single target, puncture, and sweeps. Rest of Staff Absorb. This passive now procs on a successful block rather than only against spells, which was already half truth as it procced on plenty of non-spells as well. So it was fucked in the first place, but it was inconsistent regardless, so any block. Increase the restore to 600 on proc rather than 540. Not massive. Passive now has a 250 millisecond internal cooldown, so you can't just spam the fuck out of it, obviously. Nerf Xynode. I wanted to read PvP notes on 7.0.8 and don't see any. You're looking for the wrong ones. Essence Drain. Increased the duration of Major Mending from this passive up to 4 seconds from 3. Okay. This passive now heals friendly target. Wait. This passive now heals a friendly target within 12 meters of the enemy you heavy attacked, up from 6 meters. Fucking hell. Increase the healing done to 50% from 30. That's fucking good. Rest of stuff OP as fuck. Fix an issue where the passive could critically strike, despite the initial hit already being able to do that. Double crits. No double crits allowed at the dinner table. Gina's got jokes, dude. Grand Healing. So Healing Springs. Remove the visual effect of the magical restore on this ability to help reduce visual clutter. Fair enough. The ultimate Life Giver morph. Fix an issue where there was a short window of time where all spells could cost nothing after activating this ability. Fix an issue where this morph could fail to recognize as a rest of staff ability in some cases. The assumption of that would be that these passives here, all these shiny things, especially healing done and all that kind of shit, wouldn't apply. Dear oh dear. Two-hander, Berserker Strike, Onslaught. Fix an issue where the penetration check on direct damage for this morph was not consistent with other sources. That's a weird fucking skill, that one. I've used it a lot on the Tormentor build, but it's up and down. I change it occasionally. Not that we can't point out when healers ain't using the Healer Springs. Yeah, indeed. You can still see it. You just won't see the magical shiny shit. Cleave. Carve, you know the build. Put Cleave in the chat. It's been recently released. The update has been released. It's been out for like 2 years. This ability and Carve morph now apply a damage shield on you when you cast equal to the scaling coefficients of the initial hit. Note, it does not grant a shield based on damage done. What the fuck? Both Cleave and the Carve morph now apply a damage shield. Let's keep reading. Increase the cost up to 1,510 instead of 1,324. 40 even. Not that much. 300 more per hit. I mean, you need an extra 600 recovery to be able to spam that. But you might be able to cover that anyway with glyphs and all that good shit. And not to mention, of course, if you pick up the spear, the resource version that gives you both, that can actually help out depending on whether you're using that or not. Because then you could spam Magicka type stuff for Dark Deal if you're using the Sorcerer. Not that version. Is that where? Yes, it is. Adjusted the area of all versions to hit in a 300 degree arc with a 5 meter radius rather than a 140 degree arc with a 7 meter radius. That is pretty good. But if that counts as a 5 meter radius as a melee based hit, does that apply with the DK passive where it turns 5 meters into 7? Because if so, this is back to where it was. We'll have to check that. But the arc is much bigger. That's like literally swing around the whole fucking room. Still don't understand why Healing Springs and AoE heal over time. Temper Skills doesn't light up with the built-in game circles or color choices. They do. Oh, you mean the Purify stuff? No, that doesn't. Button Seeds, that's not Templar. Purify doesn't because it's weird. It has a damage application as well. Stuff like that gets overlooked. Sometimes. Brawler. Increase the base size of this morph damage shield by approximately 7% to ensure it matches the others. And Carve. The bleed from this morph can now stack up to 3 fucking times. Oh my god! Cleave just got buffed too. Fuck! I don't mean just the skill, I mean literally the build. The build swings the weapon, using the Master's weapon, to do more and more damage the more enemies are in front of you. Obviously, big pulls, be a good tank. Make sure you pull stuff together. The bleed helps a Zerblight go tick, 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 boom. Multiple bleeds on the target is going to make it tick faster. In fact, you're going to have 2 ticks every 1 second more than you did before. So where you would normally get 5, you get 7. That's fucking nuts. Brawler is currently a clear winner in terms of morph options, as it scales far more effectively in power per target. This paired with the fact that melee builds require staying power make the defensive option a clear winner, but makes Carve feel weak no matter how high the damage could be adjusted. Correct. By adding a baseline shield to these abilities, we hope to see more active choices between the morphs. Will you let the blood flow for you and your enemy, or how the fuck staunchly, is that the word, stand in their faces? So basically, Brawler did get boosted, so you've got more protection if you're a complete wuss, but if you're like me and you use the cleave build, put cleave in the chat, there's a build. Yes, there's a build. We don't use that. We use Carve because we want the dot. Now you got 2 more fucking dots. Get the fuck in. That's insane. Light armor annulment, so the shield. No. You know when I said put cleave and you put the wrong... Scuba Steve! Have a day off. Fix an issue where you could get more than 3 magicka restores from this per cast. That's supposed to give you magicka back for getting hit by 3 spells. Not more than that, so they fixed it. Link the build. Yes, of course. Soul Magic. Soul Lock. The passive now procs on killing blow rather than only killing blows with a weapon attack. Good. That makes more sense, because otherwise, what about if you didn't use a weapon ability? What about if you use a class one? Boo. Remove the visual effect from the proc. Soul Summons. The passive now properly follows its listed cooldown rather than having an hour cooldown regardless of rank. Soul Strike. Fix an issue where this ultimate is most reveal even was not a negative effect and therefore could not be purged or was visible on your buff tracker. Vampire Drain. Don't nuke this. I love this ability. This ability and its morphs now heal 25% of your missing health per tick, up from 23. Okay. Excuse me. The morph is no longer ranked up by 1.1% per damage done per rank, and now will rank up in morph effects. So that's a small increase, a small alteration. I'm sure that's probably back-end stuff that makes that a lot easier to deal with, but whatever. No massive alteration to that. Exhilarate and Drain. This morph now ranks up 1 additional ultimate. Thank you for the bits per rank, which will be 5 at level up from 4. That is back to where it was, because that particular ability used to be called Invigorate and Drain, a very long time ago, used to give you 5 ultimate per tick. Towards the beer fund, although it should be buying me one as my birthday. Is your birthday today? Fuck, dude. Happy birthday. Beer and cake in the chat for Shaunus Maximus. It is his birthday today. He is that many years older or younger, whichever way you want to go. Which way are you going with that? I wasn't going to say your fucking age. He's 45. All right, fair enough. He's told you anyway. Happy birthday, Sean. Beer and cake in the chat. I read somebody about consuming a soul gem. Who cares? They want to have 2,000 of them. You should sell them. Drain Vigor. This morph now gains 1% missing stamina per rank, which ends at 10% rather than 5. So big resource gain there. Very nice. Fighters Guild. Expert Hunter. This ability and the Camo Hunter morph now reveals hidden enemies within 8 meters of you, up from 6. Good, because that's a little bit poo-poo. Someone say beer? I got no beer, dude. None. No beer for me today. 6 meters was not enough. It was too small. How often are you going to find someone stealthing that is that fucking close and hasn't already fucking hit you? I'm sorry, but if I'm stealthing and I'm going to sneak up and kill someone, if I'm within 10 meters, I'll probably already fucking hit you, let alone 6. Gonna crack one open. Dude, I'm jealous. Enjoy it. Have fun. All versions of this ability can now check for hidden enemies every 500 milliseconds instead of once a second, to be more responsive, catching those slippery targets. I still think this should probably be about 10, actually. Maybe with a different cooldown. Oh, it's got a different cooldown. There you go. Prevents them from going invisible for 4 seconds instead of 3. The hidden passive from this ability and its morphs Sense Evil now only highlights players, werewolves and vampires rather than any undead, daedra or werewolf creature. This change was done to better represent the targets you your skill tracker bonus works against. So if you've got it on your bar, they kind of shimmer like a bluey white kind of aura around them. It used to be very, very useful when Fighters Guild was OP as fuck at hunting people down in PvP, especially vampires. You could spot them in a crowd. Now it will work for certain things rather than just overwhelming it. But it will let you know, obviously, that that's something that you can hit that passive with. So you do have to have it on your bar. But, I mean, how many people actually knew about it? How many people know about it? Are you lying to me? You didn't fucking know, did you? We used to use it. Me and Jer IRL, you've seen him in the chat a few times. Some of you have anyway. We used to use that while stealthing, looking at a big crowd in PvP, to use our Fighters Guild to literally silver leash the fuckers into a beast trap and then hit them with the passive that Evil Hunter used to carry. You could select specific targets by spotting that aura around them. Let's say you pulled a vampire out of a crowd. It was really cool. Mifflin, thank you very much. Oh, yes. Hugely appreciate, of course, beer and cake in the chat. But as you can see here, the hidden passive from this ability and its morphs, Sense Evil, now only highlight player werewolves and vampires rather than any undead, Daedra, or werewolf. So that's a PvP alteration. So when the fuck are you going to find undead, Daedra, or werewolves that you really give a shit about in PvP? Players can only be werewolves or vampires anyway. Makes sense. Vamps are big in PvP again, so there are a lot of targets. They've always been big. That's never changed. Haven't used it in years. I haven't used that morph of it for a long time. This morph now also increases the radius to reveal to 12 meters. Aha! Good! The Camo Hunter is 8 meters. Evil Hunter is 12. I literally just said I wish they put it up to 10, but 10 might be too much. Nope. They listened to me before I even said it. Can I claim that one? Just claimed an Ouroboros crate. Get that cat, Rich. Oh, I was gonna call you Lurk, then Slash Lurk, then Rich, all at the same time. You nearly got called Rich Lurk. Words are hard. Really hard. Arrow, thank you very much. I would literally pay $100 if combat pets auto despawned in towns. The minions do occasionally. Companions. You've been called worse? I don't doubt it. Lizzie, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So, skill tracker. This passive now increases your damage with Fighters Guild abilities by 10% and an additional 10% against player werewolves and vampires, rather than increasing your damage done with Fighters Guild abilities by 20% against undead, Daedras, or werewolves. So, that's quite clear. Flat targets, it's been reduced a little bit. If they're a player, you get hit harder. Now, this passive is currently attempting to validate a very long list of specific target checks on the back end to apply its damage bonus, rather than continuing this.
I love winning.
Thank you for the follow. It will now only check 3 things instead of 23. So that's what happens when you get backseat devs and they're like, oh, why don't you fix your fucking game, bro? Well, do you know what? It's not that easy. So they had 23 callbacks that it had to check over and over and over every time you use Fighters Guild shit. Now it's just 3. Nice and easy. Or easier. Each time dealing damage while retaining its flavor in PvP environments. PvP specifically. PvE is probably a bit less. Trap Beast. This ability and its morphs now traps now last 15 seconds after their delay, rather than 1 minute. That was actually calling... what the fuck is it called? Your ability timers to do different things. So even when you applied the Beast Trap and it was on the target, it wouldn't say how long it's on it for. It would say how long you've got for the whole duration of the skill, which is already fucking gone. The claws that bite, the toes that catch, indeed. This also means that you can't just leave a trap down for an entire minute and wait for someone to turn up. You do have to be somewhat prepared. Same with the pull ability for the Warden. Where are we? Mage's Guild, Fire Rune. This ability and its morphs traps now last 15 seconds. Again, same as the Warden pull ability. They've made the portals last less time. It means you can still preempt them, but not for as long. So it's more active while you're in the fight, rather than just leave it and wait for the fucking shit to happen while you're AFK. This ability and Inner Light morph now reveal hidden enemies within 8 meters of you, up from 6. I can imagine this is going to be very, very similar to Evil Hunter. All versions of the ability now check for hidden enemies every 500 milliseconds instead of every second for more responsive catching of those slippery targets. All versions of the ability now prevent stealth invisibility to 4 seconds rather than 3. So you expose them, you've got 4 seconds to kill the bastard before they can actually disappear. Followage. Volcanic Rune is great in PvP on Keep Dot. Yes, it is. Shitchig Order. Liberation. The passive no longer grants major protection and instead applies a unique 30% damage mitigation to get its passive power back to where it was meant to be. So that will stack with major protection and with major maim. That is a bit mental. Obviously, you have to understand mitigation bonuses are multiplicative. So they don't stack. It's not 30 and 30 and 30 and stuff like that, or 30 and 10 and 10. There's a video for that about damage mitigation on my channel. Put how to get good in the chat. If not, put beginner. But that's going to be quite useful. Please pray for South Africa and that the rioting will stop. Of course, dude. Imbue weapon. We also pay $250 if a cloak is increased for every cast and Sork streak. Dear oh dear. I can't fix that. It's Zos's fucking stuff. Now, crushing weapon morph. This morph now applies major breach to the target. Hit for 6 seconds. Fucking excuse me. Rather than healing for 25% of the damage caused. To help ensure the thing being crushed wasn't your dreams. That's a little different. We'll have to see how that works. Undaunted Inner Fire, the taunt. This ability and its morphs now apply their unique visuals in a synergy. Successfully applied to the target. It should have done anyway. They did have that, but it was a bit poo-poo. Fixed an issue where Inner Fire and Rage were placing an extra negative effect on targets. Okay? In a Beast morph, that would be a problem actually, because if it adds an extra negative effect and you're trying to cleanse it, you're fucked. Increase the morph's damage. He's done it. I'm aware you don't make decisions as us when it comes to the hate for Nightblades. Dear oh dear. So much salt. You do realise you don't have to say that to me. You could just send them an email. Dear oh dear. Increase the morph's damage taken bonus on the target to 12% of base, up from 2. Good, because that was shit. Why would you want a 2% increase to base damage by using a taunt? Wasn't great, was it? To better enable a very bruiser tanks out there that were utilizing that skill. So here's the thing. You got the new set that does more damage the higher health you have, and it goes boom. That will actually help when you taunt the target if that goes off. Before, it was like, hey, I'm a tank that does no damage. I do 2% more. Hey, I'm a tank that does no damage. I do 12% more. It's helpful. There's a guy on the forum screaming about Cloak. You could start a support group, Brady. You could. It's really tricky doing these. Keep it. No arguments. Still wank. It's better than nothing. Actually, 12%, depending on the build, is really high. 2% is fucking shit. Most people don't synergize with the synergies. Dude, this here, if you taunt the target with that skill, you do more damage to them. You don't read your skills, do you? It's just a Nightblades to be deleted. All Stash Luck told me was get good. Well, here's the thing. If you poke the bear... Yeah, you know the rest. Assault. Magical Detonation. I expect this to be altered because... Stuff and things. Especially with the new boom sets. Thank you for the follows. Reduced... Well, I can hit 1.5k now. Nafi. You're so naive when it comes to builds. Try and build something that can do damage while being tanky. And that will do a lot more. If you don't, then it won't. You are free to copy and paste as much as you like, but the more stuff you test, the more stuff you'll find out. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff rather than you and your other half getting edgy in the chat. Reduce the base damage of this ability and its morphs by approximately 60%. That's fucking high. But we know why. The new sets go boom. But increased the scaling per target to 100% up from 25. Okay, fair enough. That's a little different. That will technically be a bigger boom. At the highest point of it. These abilities now deal less damage than normal area of effect, spammable until it hits 3 or more targets. Yeah, then it gets fucking nuts. Update the tooltip to state how scaling works on the initial target as well. This should reduce the potency of the skill against smaller groups while still retaining its high damage against large ones. So the more of you that cluster fuck up together, hugging each other's pants, the more damage you're going to take. Whereas before, you didn't need that many people anyway. Not a bad thing. Which tank do you think will have the most potential to output damage without losing its ability to tank? Dude, that's an impossible question to answer. That's a how long is a piece of string. Which tank? You talking about my own stuff or other people's? Because we could be here for a long time. We're not in the patch yet. We're just talking about the stuff as I read it. We'll get to all the nitty gritty and the testing and the results and all the rest of it as we go through the PTS cycle. I'm going to try and keep going ahead because we're going to run out of time soon. Revealing Flare. This ability and its morphs now prevent stealth and invisibility for 4 seconds and 3. Good, that lines up with Evil Hunter and Mage Light. The ability and its morphs now passively grant major protection while slotted to ensure they do not feel lackluster to slot when not actively trying to deny stealth or invisibility, similar to Mage Light or Expert Hunter, granting major buffs. So Revealing Flare on your bar gives you major protection. What the fuck? That's a bit naughty. Because that gives you a reason to slot it even if you're not in fucking PvP. Which means goodbye fucking permafrost. Well, for you anyway. Also, hello, Sigic order skills. Like meditate.
Drinks all around.
Fucking hell. Tank a lot of everything from a tank perspective. No, you don't look at things from a lot of perspective. You get hyped up in the chat, especially when there's people you know in there, and you start shouting stuff and things. What's the SB philosophy of a swallow? 7. I know what it's from, don't worry. And you can now stuff and things better on Patreon perk, just saying. Yes, you can. Because then you'll get to see more stuff. Champion points. Let's move forward because people are getting excited as you should be. But 2 of you in particular are trying to take the stage. Relax, we're getting there. Wind Chaser. Oh, actually, we'll start from the beginning. Added 3 new sub-constellations. Yes, more stuff in the trees. This tree focusing on more core combat gameplay interaction as thank you for the follows, as well as focusing more universal engagement on PvE encounters as the original nodes tend to have very limited diversity in that regard. Basically, if you don't know what that means, most people are just stacking the same shit. Each of these constellations is filled with new slottable stars only. So all your passives are fine, but you're going to have some new stuff to mess with. Wind Chaser sub-constellation focused on movement and speed sprinting. So, increases movement speed by 2% per stage. 5 stages, 10 points per stage. So 10% in total. For the hunt, whenever you kill an enemy, you gain major expedition for 3 seconds. Per stage, 2 stages, 25 points each. So 50 points. You're going to have 6 seconds worth of major expedition every time you kill something. That's goodbye Vicious Ophidian. If you wanted to slot it. All the zoom stars? Yeah, indeed. Refreshing Stride. You gain 100 health and magical recovery per stage while sprinting. 5 stages, 10 each. 500 recovery. That's not bad. Survivor's Spite sub-constellation. So they should add more slots for slotables because of all these new constellations. They are added. No, they shouldn't. The whole point, the whole design behind it, because people don't understand the word design usually, is so that you make a choice. They don't want it to be Warcraft where you buy everything or just one path or nothing. They want you to make choices. Still gonna be so fast and the game will break. Nobody is beating me to nodes now. I mean, VO still has stamina return, cost discounts, but whistles. Yes, I'm aware, Stark. Don't worry. I didn't miss that bit out. I'm just saying that if you are going to be killing stuff really, really fucking fast, and you've got good recovery anyway, you ain't going to fucking need it. But you might lose something. So, what can you do? Focus on pushing back and fighting against the odds. So, this would be, what, red stuff? Sustained by Suffering. Increases your health, magic, and stamina recovery by 30 per stage while under the effects of negative effects. 5 stages, 10 points each. Okay, so don't we already have that one? Oh, no, we don't. The one we have is when you are immune to CC. So if you stack this while a dot was on you, while you're immune to CC, the 2 would stack, which would give you 300 recovery overall, because they both give you 150 each. That's fucking nuts as well. Add all and plus bow roll dodge passive. Actually, the bow roll passive is major expedition, so that's the same one. You won't get it. What can you do? Same thing we do every day, complain on the forum. You'll get banned! Pain's Refuge reduces the damage taken by 1% per negative effect on you up to a maximum of 20% per stage, up to 50 points. So, reduces the damage taken per negative effect. So the more dots you have on, the less damage you take. Or just curses in general, whatever. Relentless. Gain a major protection for 3 seconds after being stunned or feared per stage. Oh, it's got 1 stage. 50 points. You've got 3-second major protection. The thing is, depending on your build, you might not even need it. Because I know it's a choice, granted. But if you can just simply put Revealing Flare on your bar, you wouldn't need it.
Drinks all around.
Although it's a counter, whatever. How fast will PvP scroll runners be now? Well, they'll be the same speed. They'll just have to make sure they kill stuff to get the boost. The difference is, dude, when you dodge roll with a bow, you get the bonus. If you're a Magicka DPS, unless you've actually slotted a skill to do so, you don't get Major Expedition. So what you can now do is slot that skill and be really fast while getting fast kills. I can scroll runners like your nose. Yeah, of course they will. Walking Fortress even, Sub-Constellation, focused on block and damage shields. So, increase block mitigation by 4% per stage, but lowers your movement speed by 16% per stage. And this has 5 stages at 10 points apiece. So, you're going to be borderline stuck on the spot. You'll be very fucking slow, but you're going to be able to take a lot of damage. Really good on standing still fights. Please tell me they're going to fix bar swapping bugs. It kills me in VMA and VVH runs every time. We're going to go through all this stuff. We've got stuff and things to read through. Maybe, maybe not. Also, that's a bit vague. If you are having particular issues, make sure you definitely report it, because if you don't say the exact things that happen, what's causing it, when, where, and all the rest of it, to Zos directly rather than me, they won't be able to know it or repeat it or fix it. Don't bar swap. Dear. That's helpful. Reduces your damage taken by 2% while blocking with a damage shield active. Oh my god, it's going to go up to 10%. So reduces your damage taken while blocking with a damage shield active. That, on Almost Immortal Warrior, is going to make him so fucking tough. Because he's got Igneous Shields on tap. Shit the bed. He is going to be chunker. Absolutely love it. When you successfully block an attack, you have 15% chance to restore 147 health per stage. 5 stages, 10 points apiece. Okay. So, that's a substantial amount of health back. But, is there a cooldown? Doesn't look like there is. 15% chance, though, is not that much. I think that might need to be altered a little bit. Although, to be perfectly honest, if you're a DPS, that's actually a big amount. A tank, it's a bit poo-poo. On a DPS, maybe that'll add up. Especially if you can crit it. Fuck Igneous Shield that with Barrier. Indeed. Fucking hell. They stack anyway. Almost Immortal Warrior stacks Igneous Shield and Bone Shield. You stick Barrier on top of that as well and accidentally pop a Magma Shell because someone else was polite enough to give you a Barrier. You're not going down anytime soon. How far in are we? Hour and 47. Over halfway. Yeah, pretty far. We're almost there, actually. Ironclad. So this was altered as well. Renamed the passive to Fortify to prevent confusion for legacy players. Honestly, I mean, to people that don't know, they're not going to really understand what that is. But for people that have been playing for a very long time, everyone knew that Ironclad was just direct damage that you took. So that was a bit weird when they changed that stuff around. But, I mean, it's nice that they alter some of that stuff just to keep you kind of in the zone. Not too much confusion, chopping and changing. Hey, Ironclad does this. No, it doesn't. As the original Ironclad has made a return to warfare. So, Ironclad, this champion star makes it return with a slottable star, reducing damage taken from direct damage attacks per stage, 2% per one, 5 stages, 10 points per stage. 50 points, 10% mitigation from direct. You watch it tomorrow on the YouTubes. It will be live on YouTube after 24 hours from now, because Twitch will shoot me in the face if I upload to YouTube before then, because they have rules if you're a partner. But it is coming, don't worry. I'll make sure that is uploaded. What's the date today? It's technically the 12th today, so it will be live early AM on the 14th. Wednesday, yeah, basically. Updated several item sets to be more performant on the server. The following item sets can now be used in campaigns that do not allow proc set items. Holy fuck! We did go over that earlier. We did actually have all those shown, but let me put that in the chat as a massive message just to be a huge dick. Then you can read them all at once. Ah, too many characters. Are you serious? Let's do that. X. While I'm talking, you can read those sets. There you go. Fix an issue where the perfected item set pieces were not showing active bonuses correctly. Ability altering weapon. So arenas, Maelstrom, Vatashran, Black Rose Prison, DSA, those kind of things. Frenzied momentum. Fixed multiple issues where this set would fail to generate stacks when casting some stamina abilities. That's a two-hander from Vatishran, I think. Consumables. This is important. Prismatic Weapon. This enchant now deals damage equal to a normal absorb enchant, so lesser than that of a flat damage bonus, and restores health, magicka, and stamina equal to half of the potency of a singular resource rather than dealing bonus damage to undead and Daedra. So it's a resource for all three. Does the same amount of damage as a stamina return glyph or a magicka return glyph. Similar to Skilled Hunter, this enchantment is too narrow in its use case, requiring it to check too many cases where it should and should not work. So basically, if you apply this to a regular target, it goes, are you Daedra? No. Are you vampire? No. Are you werewolf? No. Have you once upon a time fell asleep on a beach, really, really drunk, didn't wake up for several hours, and someone thought you were dead? So that's really fucking awkward. So to alleviate all that crap, they've made it very simple. Rather than continuing that, this enchant will now fit the proper theme of prismatic enchants, which is usually triple stats, where it gives 3 of the primary resources in 1 at half the efficiency of the singular. Makes more sense. They've been fixed in Vatishran two-hander. Yes, they are. I think VDSA needs new sets. Those sets right there right now need to be gone or reworked. I don't think they need new sets because they have the right amount in there for an arena. But, I mean, only people that don't use them anymore would think that they don't need to be changed. Some people might still find a use for them. They're not game-breaking or dead. They are still not too bad. Especially when you got footmen and stuff like that. It's pretty good. This was changed. Pelennals. Oh, you're going to... There's one in particular you're going to like. We'll get to that in a minute. Rename this set to Pelennal's Wrath. This set now grants you a damage shield based on your weapon and spell damage. Excuse me. And a stack of Wrath of White Strake for 10 seconds whenever you kill an enemy. So, it's a proc. I have wind. Excuse me. I don't want to burp on a microphone. You'll be sick. Wrath of White Strake grants you up to 100 weapon and spell damage per stack, but causes you to take 1% of your maximum health as Oblivion damage every second per stack up to 10 stacks maximum. So 10% health every second. Okay. This set, 2-piece and 4-piece bonuses are now weapon and spell damage, plus offensive pen, so it's flat out damage. And weapon and spell damage on the 4th, rather than max health, stamina, recovery, and magical recovery. This set no longer causes your weapon and spell damage to become the highest of the 2 values. So, let me read that again. This set now grants you a damage shield based on your weapon and spell damage, and a stack of Wrath for 10 seconds when you kill an enemy. So, you have to kill something first for that to happen. While it's there, you get fuck tons of weapon damage, but obviously take damage throughout. So, you hit really, really hard, but you've got a negative effect to you. So, be bloody careful, or have something that heals you a lot. Roarin's Thunder. This set now properly labeled as damage over time and a proc. It is a proc. It is damage over time. That has been in the off-balance build for quite some time as an option. And yes, it's correctly labeled. This is the borderline horror. Dear, dear. Azure Blight fixed an issue where the set was not obeying its cooldown on recently affected targets. So basically that is supposed to have a 2-second cooldown. Most situations it is working, but I believe especially in PvP some people are having some issues with that. So that is of course fixed. Crusader, this set now grants you a damage shield based on your weapon and spell damage for 6 seconds and creates an area of effect beneath you for 10 seconds whenever you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull. That also lines up with a new PvP set and the Tormentor. Every 2 seconds, the area grants you and group members inside minor courage for 12 seconds. This effect can occur once every 20. So it's not as high as YOLO, but it still works. It's quite nice. The set's 2- and 4-piece bonuses now weapon and spell damage, rather than max stamina, stamina recovery, and stamina. This set no longer increases your dodge chance bonus when rolling to 0.3 extra seconds. That was a bit shit anyway, to be fair. I appreciate that some people may have found it useful, and it is fucking annoying to have that tiny extra, I can dodge some more shit afterwards, but you really need to be a full roly-poly set to benefit from it even. This is now actually quite nice. I'm finally home from work. How you doing, Bob? Welcome to the stream. BLK... I'm getting knackered. I have a long fucking day. BLK Tornet, thank you very much for the bits. I've been up since fucking 7. I'm normally not up that early. Even with an 18-hour day, I won't be up at 7. I had 3 hours sleep. Pillar of Nirn. Nope, missed one. Pestilent Host. This set can now stack between multiple wearers. Large groups beware. Nice. Initial hit from Pillar of Nirn can now be blocked because it is direct. Sunderflame. This now has a 2.1 second cooldown to prevent situations where repeated heavy attacks prevented it from dealing any damage at all. Excuse me. Unleash Terror. This set is now properly labeled as a proc and has a 2-second delay before it deals damage. The total damage and duration remain the same. So you've got some ability to avoid, I would imagine, or defend. Venom, not Venom, Viper's Sting. This set has been fucked with so many times in the past. Or at least dramatically, let's call it that. This set now has a 1-second delay and ticks 4 times instead of 5. The total damage remains the same. So the first initial hit, that gives you time to go, oh shit, I've got stuff on me. You got 1 second to put a heal on before you start taking some really serious damage. How the fuck do we say that? Is that Kalnaz, or do you not pronounce the K? Do you just pronounce the J? Do you pronounce it as a J or a Y? We're not even going to get into it. Anyway, the set with the skull on it that makes the fist fly out the ground. Fixed an issue where you could still generate stacks for a short window against targets who were recently affected by the set. So that does have a specific cooldown and a specific rule. So I don't care. It was rhetorical, Nafi. It's fine. Imagine multiple necrosis with Pestilent Host in PvP. That's the idea, Chaos. That's what we're talking about. Krags, this set's attack hitbox now better matches its visual effect and adjusted its visual frequency to match its actual frequency. Overall, this will slightly decrease the width of the attack, but increase the length, so you can reach things further away. Selene's updated the set to no longer spawn a real spirit bear pet, and now summons a visual bear to maul your foes. This should significantly improve its performance without changing its behavior too drastically, other than fixing multiple issues where it could synergize with sets like Necropotence. This is a visual, not a pet. That's what they did there. I pronounce it as... I'm not even going to try. You're reading it in text form. I'm using actual words. Doesn't matter how you type it. Doesn't mean you're saying it like that. Celestrix. This set is now properly labeled as a proc, as it should be. Thank you for the follow. Storm Fist. Storm Atronach Fist from this set can now properly be dispelled, as it is pretty darn magical when you think about it. So ground-based AoE, pop, and lightning damage, that can be removed. So nerf core basically can remove it. It still counts with my Werewolf Zoo build. I mean, it does still show a visual for it, yes, but it's not a physical pet as far as code is considered. They don't recognize it as a pet anymore. This set's disgusting spores. Oh, Velidreth we're looking at, by the way. Longer explode after... I need to start that again. This set's disgusting spores longer explode after hitting a target. No, I did read it correctly. You got a typo in there, or you're missing some grammar. And instead, now continue to travel in a straight line. Does that mean it can hit multiples? Fix a few edge cases where the set would fail to work with multiple users. Spores no longer... Is that supposed to be no longer explode after hitting the target? And instead continue to travel in a straight line. Is that a visual effect, or can it hit multiple targets? Rich, you still here? Can you confirm? Where's he gone? People can think so all they like. I'm asking the creative director here. He can give me a straight answer. Unless he's pissed. He might have too much beer. I did not think my username would pop up. Dear oh dear. Well, Twitch will probably ban it at some point. Also, wasn't Gina Nafi? She doesn't actually write the bulk of this. It's a trivial argument. Ouroboros crates! I did not realize drops are actually active. That is handy to know. I should probably put that in the details. I should probably look. Why didn't anyone tell me? You tell me everything else that I already know. Let's try again. Right, let's continue. Mythic items. Pearls of blah blah blah. How do you pronounce that? Fixed an issue where these sets were incorrectly proccing off damage abilities that healed you when they dealt damage. This set was balanced around frequency, having to cast healing abilities, and its occurrence worked around this requirement, causing it to be significantly stronger than intended in some cases. Niculus, this set was very underwhelming for a long time. I know it's 25% to reflect fucking projectiles, but it really didn't feel like it. Really didn't. This set now grants a stack of Nicholas resolve for 5 seconds whenever you successfully block, which after 8 stacks you consume them and completely avoid the next direct damage attack made against you within 5 seconds. So, when you successfully block,
I love weddings. Drinks all around.
after 8 blocks, the next direct damage attack within 5 seconds of stacking those is guaranteed to be completely avoided. That, I'm going to be honest, I think it's probably worse. Because while in some situations you might get lucky, and the set was designed to be somewhat lucky, I don't think you can really control that. You can't even... You could. You have to be very, very fucking specific. But if you wanted to deliberately miss hit or get missed by a massive hit, you'd have to make sure you deliberately stacked up exactly 8, then just wait and make sure it landed within those 5 seconds. That, I don't have any problem with things that are micromanaged, but that's too specific, and there's going to be very, very rare situations that you're going to see the full effect of that. That is somewhat similar, if not worse, than Glory from Maelstrom. You know, I have a very open mind, and I know there's millions of different ways to do things. And I say exactly what I think, with no bullshit. Honestly, I think on paper, which I will test, obviously, looking at it at first glance, I think that might be worse than it was. We'll see. Imagine trying that with Zamaja Heavy Attack. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you miss block by accident, you miss the next one. It's very, very, very specific. I'm all out for complicated sets and being very specific and micromanaging your resources and all that kind of stuff. I'm absolutely fine with that, especially since I used to fucking lead fleets in EVE Online for like 350 people, for fuck's sake. Thank you very much. I have no issue with complicating things in some areas, but I think that's just too much too soon. I think that should have been altered, yes, but not like that. I think you need a different way to guarantee that you can avoid one direct hit. I don't think blocking that many stacks... Let me read it again just in case I did it wrong. Resolve for 5 seconds whenever you block. So every time you block, you get another 5 seconds. So it stacks up to 5. Tick, 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 another one. Tick, 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 another one. No longer than 5. Like Reliquin, every time you do a light attack, you get another 5 seconds of wind. After 8, you consume them and completely avoid the next one. Yep, read it right the first time. It looks shit. Sorry. Looks shit. I'll try it. I'll test it. I'll give you proper feedback. But on paper, I will admit that I don't like the look of that one. Sifis Touch. Come on. We've been waiting for this. This set now grants 5% movement speed for 30 seconds whenever you kill an enemy up to 20 times and grants invisibility when activated. Now, that's the opposite side of the coin. That is the other way to build a set properly. Sifis has been the shittest set in the game forever. Why? Because you used to use Blade of Woe, which by the way is a one-shot kill, and then you'd get Major Berserk. Yay! I just showed that I can one-shot someone, but now I have stronger hits. What do you need to be stronger than one shot? It was shit. This is great. So now you can Blade Away the fuck out of someone, if you want. Kill them in the face, and run really, really fast, and go invisible, and kill another one, another one, another one, another one. This set no longer grants Major Berserk whenever you kill an enemy with Blade of Woe. However, this doesn't say when you Blade of Woe them. This says you get the bonus when you kill an enemy. So that's a bit nuts. I'm glad they've changed this. That might be a little bit OP. That might be too strong. This is fucking shit. This is fucking OP. But we need to try it. The sets 2-piece and 4-piece now have stamina, magicka, and weapon and spell damage rather than max health, and crit chance. Great. 5% movement speed for 30 seconds whenever you kill an enemy up to 20 times. So it'll stack and stack and stack, be really, really fast, and grants you invisibility for 3 seconds when activating. I like it. It's 100%. It's fucking nuts. 3 seconds of invisibility, yes. It's pretty nuts. However, just remember there is a hard cap for speed. But it's pretty fucking nuts. We'll have to test it. It doesn't say use Blade of Woe. It just says kill an enemy. But if you want to be a murderer, that would be bonkers. And if it does apply to general enemies, then yes, PvP bombers, you would have a stealthy get fuck away button every time you kill someone. So then you don't have to stand there and just, hey, I blew everyone up, kill me. Let's move on to the next one. Stygian or Stygian, whatever. This set now grants hybrid stats rather than exclusively Magicka stats. Good, because it was a bit pumba. The 4th piece bonus is now Offensive Pen rather than Magicka. The 5-piece bonus now requires you to be in combat to proc it. Note that this will still work on a successful sneak attacks. So if you sneak up, it does the stuff, but you do have to be fighting people if you want the benefit. There are a lot of sets and bonuses in the game that they have deliberately made so that you can't pre-buff. Just hope they fix that with the fucking kill, because then people can start dummy humping with it. Nowadays, we love it. We love it. You can go invisible anyway. So far as scales, the initial hit from this set can now be properly blocked. Twin Sisters fix an issue where the damage over time from this ability could be dodged and blocked in some cases. That is attached to the player. They're not supposed to be able to block that. I wonder if you can get lots of stacks or kill a bunch of ads if they're internal cooldown. I would imagine so. I think that's the idea of the set. I think it's meant to kill stuff really, really quickly and run the fuck away. That's the design for it. Because if you're using it in the past, you're supposed to Blade of Woe people and then get a benefit. So it is still a murderer type set. It's kill, get a benefit to speed or evasion from guards. So kill, 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 kill. Wicked, quick and invisible, get the fuck out. That's the idea. But in some areas, that might be broken as fuck. PvP especially. If that does work on players, every kill you get, someone's going to try and hit you with an execute from a two-hander when you're low health, and you're going to go, choomp, bye-bye, whom. They're not going to catch it. Especially with the new stealth rules, where direct stuff doesn't break stealth. Interesting. There's a lot of PvP application in this particular update. Set-wise and skill-wise, I mean. Galerian's Revenge, that one has needed to be altered for some time, but... Well, mind you, it did a while back. But again, anyway, it's there as a proc, so it doesn't rely on the... It's a heavy attack only, it doesn't count. No, it does count as a proc, so that won't be used in no proc Cyrodiil. Good night, Akara. Thank you very much for watching. This one, which I can never, ever pronounce. Service one, it gives you a buff if you heal people. And Powerful Assault, fix an issue where these sets did not properly follow their intended sorting behavior with how they applied to targets. They will now prioritize nearby players to the wearer of the set that do not have the effect already active. So this could overwrite some people. It could get the wrong targets. It could just keep refreshing over and over and over. Now, if it's not on someone, it will give it to them. If it is on them, it won't. Unless they're the only ones in the room, I assume. Vice Cannon Venom. The damage over time from this set can now stack from multiple users. That's dirty if you've got a coordinated attack. Trials. Kind's Wind. Fix an issue where this set would activate when you cast an ability while under the effects of major buff, rather than casting an ability that applies a major buff to you and an ally. So, that's naughty. That works when you got a buff rather than when you used one. Alkosh. Increase the set's armor reduction cap to 6,000, up from 3. Perhaps damage dealers will finally wear it, but probably not. I have been using that on toxicity since 2016, I think. YouTube's got the dates for that. Don't worry, it has been used. Just not enough people. Soul's Torment. Fix an issue where if multiple players proc this set and had a soul active at any given time, anyone picking up the soul would remove all others around them with a 3-meter radius. That's not good. It will now only remove the user's soul so multiple people can properly use the set. Think fuck for that. Twilight Remedy. Fix an issue where this set could apply to yourself if you activated your own synergy. See that... Which... I don't see why that would be an issue. Fix an issue where this set could apply to yourself if you activate your own synergy. If you're a Necromancer, you can activate your own synergy. And that does normally apply to procs that require a synergy. So why that one would be isolated from that, I don't know. Unless it's in the spoilers. The power of the set is designed around it being selfless in nature and would require reductions in power to retain its oversight in behavior, since it was designed well before unnerving Boneyard. Okay, fair enough. Lady Fawn and Blood Altar existed. You can't take your own Blood Altar anyway in their current forms. That's... I'm going to be honest, I think that's a bit nitpicky. Because otherwise, if that's the case, you need to do the same thing to... Yes, of course, the Lady Thorn set. You need to do the same when it comes to Alkosh and Luna Bastion and also Moon Dancer, stuff like that. If you can't get those to work with your own synergy, or you can get those to work with your own synergy, why is this one not allowed? I get what you're doing with it. You don't want it to be a set that buffs you, and it was prior to you being able to take your own synergy, but you need to do the same to the rest of them to make it consistent. So while I get what you're doing with this, you need to make it work with all other stuff as well. Unless it already is, which I don't think so. Alliance War PvP. Fix an issue where the unstable core ability could refresh itself even if you were immune to crowd control and made the immunity granted from breaking free. From breaking it more reliable. The telekinetic prison ability is no longer a 6 or 4 second disorient, depending on the cast time, and is instead an outright 4 second stun, making it less prone to issues when paired with other crowd control abilities. The extended chains ability now operates more closely to players' versions and will no longer apply to sources of crowd control immunity, previously creating situations where you could be more likely to become stuck in crowd control. Don't want that. Twilight Tooltip says on an ally. Yes, it does, but when you have any abilities in the game, DJ, that say ally, it usually applies to you as well. For the sake of consistency, if you're going to do it for one, you need to do it for the rest. Good luck breaking CC in Cyrodiil. Fixed an issue where the damage from extended chains was mitigated by physical resistance instead of spell. Fix an issue where Crystal Shard cast by guards was granted 2 forms of CC immunity. Well, the root and the fucking stun. Crafting economy, rebalance master... I'm not going to go through the crafting stuff, actually. Adjusted some cook and fires cameras to not skew oddly when playing in gamepad mode. Whatever. That only applies to me anyway. And a few of you, but... I'm not going to do stuff that just applies to me and not to some others. That stuff will skip. Blood Altar says only ally and only is available to allies. Yes, it does. The synergies do, but there are other synergies and abilities and heals and stuff that say on ally and they apply to you as well. You could go through lots of different variations of abilities and sets and bonuses that do follow that rule, but there are also some that do not, unfortunately. So again, for the sake of consistency, if you're going to do it for one, do it for all. Adjust the preview camera for the Azure Blight Wild Hunt Steed so it better frames around your character. I read Azure Blight then and I thought they nuked it again, but they didn't. I like YOLO and stuff. Exactly right. Celebrations, we don't need to go over those. You can test them on PTS. Housing, I can't show you anything, but there's a lot of fixes there. I think I'm pretty much done. Fair enough. I'll get me a... No, you're good. I'm literally, when I come out with stuff like that, it's not that I've forgotten stuff. I can appreciate that some people have a really good knowledge of the game, but I'm talking over the whole game, not just one set or one skill. There are fucking tons that have these kind of up and down rules. I can appreciate also that they are fixing this bit by bit by bit. They can't just nuke it all in one day. You can't just sledgehammer fix absolutely everything by putting a fucking great hole in the wall and just filling it with stuff that you want to. It's just there are inconsistencies, but we'll see. I mean, this is the first patch note of the new update. We've got about 4 or 5 weeks worth usually. I don't doubt that there'll be some other stuff in there. And also some of the stuff will probably be balanced along the way. So some of the sets that look OP as fuck might get altered. Some that look really, really shit might get altered. None at all might get altered. Or some might get completely reworked. That's happened before. In previous chapters, especially Somerset, and also elsewhere, I think. But Somerset more than others. Especially Reliquin and, fuck is it called? Sororia. Those types of things, when I tested them at ZOS, they were altered before they hit PTS. And then when on PTS, they were altered before they went to live. And when they went to live, they've had fucking 3 changes since then. So, never say never. We'll see. These are all basic base game fixes. Zones, quest, all that kind of stuff. Maybe performance increases to rain. Okay, fine. The rest of it. UI. Fix some display issues on the ability bar timers for several abilities. Good, because they were busted, some of them. Updated the text on endeavors. Updated collectibles to use the term world boss instead of group boss. Make it make sense. Pretty much there. You claim an Ouroboros? Nice. Fucking hell. Now it's time to go to fucking PTS. I haven't downloaded it yet because I'm going to do it off stream. Now, I did start early, so I'm going to finish early. I'm actually 2 hours, 15 minutes in. This is going to be uploaded on YouTube in a day and a bit. So Wednesday, you're looking forward for that. But apart from that, I'm going to be gone. So I will see you all tomorrow, of course. If you have any queries about this stuff, obviously, when the video goes live, you'll have a massive comment section to take advantage of. Failing that, I mean, I think you can still post. Can you still post on the video once it's up? Probably not. Anyway, wait for that video. You can put it all there, and I'll answer what I can when I can. Apart from that, you will obviously see me live streaming on the PTS because you'll see me testing all the stuff and things. I did what? You didn't do anything, Naffy. Tomorrow is most likely going to be a PTS stream. No, do take care. Thank you very much. But when it happens, they're very stressful. Loads of people try to backseat game and say, do this, do this, do this, do this. Leave that out. I'll show you what I'm doing, and hopefully you enjoy it. We'll go over stuff. Anyway, people, thank you for watching. I will, of course, see you all tomorrow. I'm going to do a host. If you're not subscribing on YouTube or following on Twitch, please hit those buttons. They are free. Furthermore, if you want to help support outside the channel, there are some links in the info section for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, the website ZonoGaming.com, and you can follow me on Instagram as well. I'm knackered. I had 3 hours fucking sleep last night. I've been up since 7. I'm done. Bye-bye, people. Have a good night.
That the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you would think